That's a jazzy little beat there. That's a jazzy little beat, man. I tell you, man. I don't know who made that beat, but they did a good job, Raheem. Excuse me. I'm just saying. But good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. And before we go another step further, before we do another iota or skip step or whatever we're gonna do, got to say good morning to Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
Yes, sir. Doing good. Leonard, you know where we got to start, man. What's going on?
What?
You see that situation? Yeah, exactly. You see that situation that happened in Columbia yesterday?
No.
Man, Columbia, South Carolina is man. There was a fella, young boy. I'm gonna get the clip. I'm gonna send it to you. There was a young boy that was walking up the street, and he was confronted. He was just walking the street, wasn't doing nothing to anybody, and come find out, he had walked up that street quite often, but somebody they confronted him, and there was a
Oh, the wrong neighborhood guy.
yeah. And man, now and then after that happened, young boy kept saying, "Look here, man, I'm just walking. I ain't doing nothing to nobody, man." And then you on the wrong street, you in the wrong neighborhood. We have a certain neighborhood here, and you ain't get on out of here, get on out of here. They went through their whole little spiel, everything. Young boy kept saying, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't put your hands on me. And what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And they went through the whole spiel. Maybe just a bully. The next day, there was a group of people in this neighborhood that came and protested him on his yard, on his lawn, and say, "Look here, we just want to talk to you," but he wouldn't come outside. During that time, he won't come outside, and they said the police don't went in and picked him up. Uh, didn't really arrest him, but they said they tried to quote unquote protect him. Leonard, who protect, who protected the young boy when he was out there spitting all in his face, talking all loud, spitting and hooping and hollering in the little boy's face? Who protected that little young boy?
Like I said, it becomes a issue of one protecting yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to learn how to do. So when confronted, you can immediately address the threat.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is not an issue where, I think one of my issues is how to put it. There's always going to be something there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have to understand is this whole neighborhood things and what happens in certain
Mm-hmm.
situations. You must protect yourself because
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly tell you, I've been in neighborhoods before where people have that mentality, but it had nothing to do really with white folks.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna check him just like he checked me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna meet force with force.
And that's a good thing, and that's a good question that has been asked. If the young boy would have, he was old enough. He was actually old enough. I think they say old enough to have a concealed weapon and have a permit. Now, if he had a concealed weapon permit and he took out that gun and protected himself, what would have been what would have been the next steps?
Well, the
Naturally.
next step, well, there's a law. There's steps for that.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the process or what have you. But the
Mm-hmm.
point is that you defend yourself. You can't be progressive. You can't be scared about the consequence.
Mm-hmm.
The consequence has been death in some situations.
Yes,
So
sir.
what I'm supposed to do? Wait for you to kill me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna let you know you about to lose too.
And see, in that situation, one of the questions that I ask in this whole thing, because all this was video, they were videotaping and everything. This guy, he's out there harassing and saying, I think it was his wife that was recording. That's why I think it is, because he kept saying, "You talking to my wife now? You talking to my wife now?" And he was just saying, I'm just trying to go, keep walking through the neighborhood. I do this all the time. The bully was like, "Well, I never seen you in here. I never seen you out here before." And then they try to say, like an Emmett Till situation, they try to say that, he was out there harassing a young girl and talk to the little girl. They said they talked to the little girl, and this little girl said, "No, he walk out here all the time. He didn't do anything to me. He walk out here all the time."
Like I said, I hope they all die and go to hell. I don't care nothing about them.
Mm.
That's what the devil supposed to be.
It's just that a lot of things, Leonard, is coming to the forefront. And like I said, they actually protested. They had a group of people out there in Columbia, South Carolina, and I know the neighborhood they was in. It's a neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
called the Summit. I know I got
Right.
friends that live over there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I lived in Columbia for 10 years, so I know that area very well. And to see them come together and they and you know how the news media, man, news media always gonna try to throw something in the equation, something negative, saying that somebody threw a brick through the man's window and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody threw a brick through that man's
Like I
window.
said, as long as they keep lying about everything and trying to misrepresent everything, we always know who they are. Now
Mm-hmm.
we know where they live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because I know when he was out there, and he, I think Leonard, I don't quote me on this part, but I think he's the bully was it was a soldier in the military. I think
I heard
he
you. I heard it was. I heard the person was all former military. I don't know if they
mm,
were active or not, but I heard they were in the military.
yeah, and so if that be the case, I wonder what stance is the military gonna take in this situation because even though he was not on duty, he's still representing. Leonard, with you, and I'm gonna use you as an example for a second. Um, you could be off the clock at a restaurant having dinner with your beautiful wife and everything, and if something were to happen because you are the national spokesperson for New Order, even though you're not on the clock, you still represent them. And to some degree, because what they're going to say is, that man from New Order, even though
Hmm.
you're not on the clock,
Hmm.
you're not out there doing anything to quote unquote represent New Order, but you still represent them. And I say that because even though he was not on duty, he still represent the military.
All right,
Is that
I don't have a problem with New Order, and people shouldn't. That's just what the culture is doing
mhm,
for people. Now, you can have certain issues or whatever. If you say they represent, they represent.
mhm,
However, what you gonna do to me?
mhm,
What you
mhm.
gonna do to me?
Nothing, but my thing is this right here. My point is he's representing, even though he's not on duty. And some people say, well, he wasn't on duty at that time. Well, he's still representing the military.
No,
If he,
I don't. I don't. I was in the military before. I didn't represent the military everywhere I went.
hmm
I
but if
I
you
was
did,
a member of the military. I was under the UCMJ, and I wasn't a civilian.
hmm
So
okay,
that whole military thing is very different. You're not representing anyone.
hmm
You're a member of the United States military.
okay, I can go with that. But at the same time, I think that, like I say, if with DKM
Hmm.
is if somebody were to go out there and do something outlandish,
Yeah.
and and they say, well, that's that guy or that's that girl from that DKM media group,
Hmm.
even though they're not on air at that time. That's why certain jobs will tell you. My wife being an educator, certain things they can't do in education,
Right.
certain and they just can't do because even though they're off the clock, even though they're off the
Hmm.
clock, they're still they say that they're still representing the school district and they can get fired for something that they do even in a restaurant. If I don't think my wife don't drink, but I don't think they could actually go in public and video themselves drinking and stuff like that because that could be terms for unemployment,
Yeah,
firing.
you're right. And I believe to each his own on that issue. I try not to get into those types of relationships where you're
Mhm,
going to be criticized for being who you are.
mhm,
I think that whole entire cultural thing that we do here is
mhm.
horrible
Yeah,
because one is just really a way to get back at people to constantly antagonize people
mhm,
based on who they are or whatever. It could be any situation. It
yeah,
don't even have to be your job.
mhm,
It could be anything that people. I go to such and such church.
yeah, yeah,
It could
yeah,
be anything. It could be anything. You
mhm,
know what I'm saying? It could be whatever people want it to be, and I can't control that.
mhm. But let me ask you this: you have a background in the corporate world.
Hmm.
Are there some jobs in the corporate world that feel that way? That say
Oh
that
yeah,
mhm,
most definitely. We have different types of certain jobs have programs to deal with certain issues or what have you. But just because you got a drug problem or whatever, and you was doing drugs, don't mean that the whole company something wrong with the company. It means you're a drug addict.
mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
decent companies have human resource programs to help people who work for them that have issues.
Hmm.
This is one of the big issues, one of the benefits of having unions and things of this nature, to make sure that people understand the rules, and also that there's an agreement on how you behave.
Hmm.
If you make the agreement, you should be held by the agreement.
Hmm. Now you said something about union, and this is totally off topic here.
Yes, sir.
But why is it you find more unions and stuff like that up north? Why do they not want to have unions down south?
Because the South has always been a a horrible place when it comes to labor.
Hmm.
They're just horrible for people. They believe to work you to death, just like you were nothing more than a slave, get all they can out of you, then throw you out and bury you in the back.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
that's truly the whole motivation behind no unions. We need to
Hmm.
pay you as least as possible. We need to give you as least as possible. And that's why I can't understand how some people fall in love with where they work.
Hmm.
And people will fire you tomorrow if it'll cut their bottom line.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
why you in love with somebody where y'all relationship is based completely on money?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? It doesn't make sense. You go get your money and you leave.
Hmm. Play
So
the
you
game.
have to have that mentality. They want you. The thing is to you want people to be happy where they work. A lot of times in good companies, I would say,
Hmm.
but there are some companies that are absolutely horrible, and people work with them and allow them to treat them any kind of way. They don't report it. They just go on, and these cultures and these organizations become those types of places. You know when you walk in there, how people talk to you, how people act.
Hmm. Now, a lot of times down south here in Georgia, I know South Carolina is one as well, and I don't know about Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida, but a lot of them is what they call right to work states, where
Mhm.
they have the right. You have just like you have the right to work, they have the right to fire you, and don't really necessarily know quote unquote have to have underline a reason.
And really, that's not true.
Hmm.
Right to work states means that you cannot be compelled, and
Hmm.
it's not mandatory that you be member of union organizations.
Hmm.
You have a right to work without being harassed by the union.
Hmm.
That's the way they kind of think about it. That the union is forcing people
Wow.
to be a part, because you have some people just as ignorant on the labor side. They
Is
believe
that
they
true?
can make it on their own. They don't need no union because the company
Hmm.
is so great and so good and blah 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 blah. So they don't need a union.
Mm. Wow.
I understand both sides of the coin.
Hmm.
However, that does nothing for the culture of the state. And if you are fired for any reason whatsoever, you still have redress through the judicial system.
Hmm. That's
There is
good.
usually there may be some type of appeal process, internally. Companies that have unions where you may be fired, they have
Hmm.
a process for that. So that process comes into place, and it weighs whether or not you should be able to keep your job, or maybe the person that fired you made a bad decision or incorrect decision or something of that nature. That's wrongful termination.
Hmm.
You can
Mm.
file wrongful termination with your labor board in your state.
Doesn't matter whether you north, south, east, or west. It's
Does,
still
does doesn't matter if you have that. Most states do have a labor commission, and they have a process for addressing grievances. For instance,
Mhm,
our brother that's now the CEO of DeKalb County, I believe Michael Thurman, he used to be the director of the Department of Labor here in the state. So
mhm.
whatever the issue was, you could actually file that complaint against that company and have it weighed by a governmental agency on whether or not you were wrongfully terminated or not. There are
Michael,
some people who get their jobs back, all types of
mhm,
things.
and back pay and all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And Michael Thurman, we ain't gonna go into this, but Michael Thurman was a different kind of fella. Got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Rico calling from Anderson, Alabama, man. Grand Rising to everybody this
Grand
morning.
Rising, brother. How
Good
you doing,
morning. Good morning.
Rico? We
Man, I
talk
can't complain at all, man.
we talking about the union and how a lot of times the South don't want to have unions. Um, What do you say to that? And we also was talking about the situation that happened in Colombia, where did you see that video where the young boy was walking and he was confronted by the bully? I call him the bully.
Yeah, the soldier, the quote soldier,
Yeah,
American soldier. I'm gonna call him American terrorist.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw that. They went back and protested.
Mm-hmm.
But there's several different reasons. And, it always takes more than one reason for somebody to justify action. If you ever come with just one reason, that ain't gonna never be enough. So there's more than one reason. But the ultimate reason, I'm gonna say the biggest play, down to the play that they pulled, was convincing people, mainly white people back then down here in the South, that these black men was gonna have the same quality of life, and they was gonna get your houses, move into your neighborhoods, and get your females.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people would be like, "Well, no, that ain't true. That ain't true." Yeah, it's definitely true. It's a proven part of the playbook that they used back then. Because at one point in time, it was very favorable. But that was favorable for some. That before I was made aware, I'm gonna say before I did more research, I was against unions because I heard all this stuff about Jimmy Hoffa and all these different people. I'm like, man, wait a minute. They came in and took something good and made it bad, or made it good for themselves. But after I started researching and got older and actually got into the workforce myself, I started seeing it was necessary because I started going through things myself personally, from job to job. When I first came out of high school, I didn't understand how just coming into the rat race, graduating, getting into a job, I didn't realize how expendable I was. Yeah, you are important to being a piece of the puzzle, but there are a million pieces graduating out of high school every year that don't want to go work for themselves, that's gonna come by for that job, trying to just get that little money there, trying to get that contract to work for somebody. He work for somebody else, and so they don't realize how expendable they are, and they buy the teamwork concept, because they'll pump you full of that, man. Teamwork, you see all the signs when you walk into a work atmosphere. And you'll feel like, oh man, this is a good work family. You see people walking by speaking to each other. Oh man, yeah, I like this place. This is a good work family. But then just as soon as you get in the door, it's a very big possibility that you might just start going through problems. They got rules in place, like you said, the right to work thing. It varies from state to state. They have it in Alabama and Florida too. But each state you go to, and every person you go to when they mention that, this is a right to work state. Everybody got a different definition. That lets you know. That lets you know that everybody perceives it differently and receives it differently.
Yeah.
So with that confusion, or just not being informed about it properly, is the reason why the companies can get away with it and say it's a right to work state. But that works in the favor of the regular employee too. So you just have to know how to use it, know the terminology, and understand that just doesn't benefit the companies, but it benefits the company, but it benefits you too.
Yeah, exactly. Leonard, what do you say to that, brother? Leonard?
So what particularly do you mean? What do I say about it?
No, we still building on the union situation, and what's on your heart concerning that?
Well, I'm usually very pro-union, so I'm union for life because I believe in workers' rights and things like that.
Is that because of your background, Leonard? And
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I've always worked for the union and participated in union. Even when I was a little boy, I would hand out flyers for the union in the neighborhood, all types of things like that. And so I've been also on teams with mutual gains and benefits to establish union agreements from a management point of view. And I did not care for those other people's view. I'm a decent person regardless of what I'm doing or where I'm at. So when there is an established, like say for instance, Rico will probably tell you, there's always this management against craft thing. You don't even have to have no issue, but that's the culture. So when I went from my desk to my office, I didn't change. I knew the agreement very well. I sat in on a lot of issues and all those types of things. So it's more beneficial for the worker as a whole to have protection You need that protection from business owners
Mm-hmm.
because you're a liability to them.
What differences did you recognize or realize, Leonard, coming from up north and when you came down south, and the difference in the work environment? Were there any differences?
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all still be on that master slave crap.
Mm.
Y'all still think y'all can say and do whatever y'all want. And when y'all become in charge, people with Southern mentalities really believe they somebody's boss.
Mm.
So you see, people get these jobs and they think they can say what they want to people, treat people anyway. Look what they do to women, harassment, all types of things. So you have to also be aware that just because you had a job, you don't have to, when they hired you, you became a second-class citizen.
Mm.
It's horrible the way that some management personnel treat people and antagonize and harass them and try to make their lives a living hell. And this builds up stress as well as creates hostile work environments and what have you. So then you have to have programs that mitigate these relationships. You have to have skip level meetings. You have to reassure people that are working that they're going to be treated fairly. But down south, some people will tolerate being treated any kind of way. And that's a huge problem. And that concept of the union. The Republican strategy is still union busting. But you have to add racism to that too, because the unions were not developed for Black people to be treated fairly. The unions were particularly created by white immigrants and all these working class people in the North. So as they progressed, as business progressed and the nation progressed, these are things that occur. Well, we used to just, we used to treat our workers like slaves. So we want to keep doing that. That's why the South is the way it is, because of its history of slavery. This is why they are always behind the ball when it comes to progress, because they want to hold on to antiquated ways of white supremacy. As you have to remember, there are some people that think about it, what Jim Jordan says. Jim Jordan in Congress right now. Matter of fact, a House reparations bill passed there in the House. They already know it's going to be defeated in such a divided Senate. But this is one of the first time the bill has gotten this far as it relates to reparations. Bill 40, HR 40, which was originally proposed by my man out of Detroit. He died, been doing it, was doing it all his life, John Conyers. So the bill just now passed the Judiciary Committee. Now, it has to go on to the Senate. Jim Jordan said, y'all trying to make us take responsibility pretty much for something we ain't had nothing to do with, and y'all wasn't there. So why y'all think we should have these reparations? It's because he's a white racist. That's why he said that. So we have to understand that this battle is not won. You still have to fight. You got to have a union in order to fight back. There are some states that do believe that it don't matter why they fire you. Maybe you get fired because you refuse to perform oral sex on your manager.
Good Lord.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what it's like out there in the workplace. You have people doing all types of things to people, and people just going along with it because that's their paycheck. You shouldn't have to work under those conditions. Either you like what we do to you or you leave.
Ain't nothing in the middle.
Ain't nothing in the middle. And see that, but that's how they have been allowed to operate. You got a whole EEOC, and half the people don't even file EEOC complaints. That is a system set up to address these issues. You have to use those systems. And you got people say, well, they don't work with, no, they don't work for you, and don't you worry about it. Because you don't want to do it, don't mean it's not helping other people. See, we can become very cynical in our dismay, I would say. That don't go together. You have to be progressive. You can't just dig in and say you're not gonna change, and you've been doing it this way for 50 years, and you're gonna keep doing it this way.
Mm-hmm. Let me go to Rico. Rico, you've actually lived up north as well as down south. What are you seeing the differences?
No, I didn't live up north. I just visit.
Okay. Okay.
I got family up there, but I can tell the big difference, and the big difference is drive,
Mm-hmm.
motivation. I see more people that are not brainwashed as far as hope
Mm-hmm.
from up north compared to people down south. See, I mean, you know, and let me hit it on the head. Really, you know, we have to really accept the fact that regardless of what progress or what technology or whatever new trend comes around or gets developed, somehow some white person is going to try to find a way to make sure that they could benefit from it, and that we can.
Mm-hmm.
White supremacy is going to play a part in it. Somewhere, somebody going to think about how they can protect their best interests. And so, you know, like you said, you asked that question about the boss men being like that. You know, I worked in situations where a supervisor was told that if he didn't start being an ASS towards us, he would be fired.
Mm.
You know, we were the best workers he had ever had. He had told us we were the best workers he ever had. We made him so happy that he'd like to hang with us. He started hanging with us after work. Then he found, I mean, would come to me. I seen supervisors come to you with tears because there were management people above them.
Oh, yes.
Wanted them to come down on people
Mm-hmm.
they really didn't have a reason to come down on. They just didn't like them.
Right.
And me, a lot of people don't like me because I don't skin and grin and smile in your face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sit back and smile and act all like I'm just gracious to be in your presence, or I'm just gracious to be at your job, because I do realize I'm expendable.
Mm-hmm.
This is your job. When I go home, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can walk around all day long and take pictures of fire hydrants and see them all around the world and say, yeah, I worked at that place. I probably made that fire hydrant, but I ain't making a penny off of it now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't work at that place anymore. So, you know, we have a culture. For some reason, slavery made us so codependent, and not only hopeless, you know, it made us feel submissive, but it made us codependent and lazy too. And so the same people that you see that probably wouldn't want to go and get their own trade, become their own businessman, or go to college and extend their education when they got out of school, but they wanted the quick, easy book. They didn't have time to sit back and think out the fact that, hey, man, if I'm just starting in and getting a job that everybody else wants, then next year somebody else gonna come in just as qualified as me. You know, I'm not guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say I'm not somebody that they really need.
Yeah.
In this position. So, you know, it's like that laziness and that convenience and that love of being codependent. It makes people want to stay in those jobs. Well, I don't need to saying nothing. They gonna fire you if you start saying. It's always been like that. It was like this way back before you were born. And you know, you think to yourself, well, why y'all putting up with it?
Mm-hmm.
Man, they gonna fire you. That's why they putting up with it. They scared to get fired. But then you have that mindset. For some reason, the management mindset is the same mindset the police have. When they how they operate, when they come at you with their authority, the aggressiveness, when they want to control you, and they abuse it. It's like, oh, I'm in charge of you now, so you do what I say. You know, if you think about how that went on with the cop and the Latino soldier. How he tried to switch it around and how he just talked to him aggressively, had his guns drawn, no kind of compassion or empathy or no open-minded, no, you know, just no cooperation intended.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the way it is in the workplace. Those people get power hungry, and they probably came from a place where maybe they didn't have the opportunity to be in charge. Now they're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing the same thing that these cops do. They're abusing their authority. So the union is in place for that reason. That was the reason why I had to change around and get in the union. I had to utilize the union as a non-member.
Mm-hmm.
I still had to use those rights to file grievances and get what I needed done. Then I saw I could get it done better from the inside. That's when I became more in favor of the union.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Leonard, unions, and like you said, has been a part of the North forever, as long as I can remember. And there has been some attempts to bring unions down south, but they've been blocked at every corner. Who are those blocking guards that don't want the unions down here?
Most of the time, it's upper level people in corporate, but then you have some minions down below that don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
The same ones that vote conservative and believe in giving the 1% tax cuts, but not giving us tax cuts. But they one of us. Those people, the ones that's working in the Honda plants, the Amazon plants, the Mercedes plants, they feel like, hey, I'm doing good. Notice the key word I said was I'm.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think about everybody else. They're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, you see a culture where when you got favor, everything all right. But what about the next person?
Mm-hmm.
What about the next person that came in and they didn't get the promotion because they won't do no favors with the boss, the team leader? You know, so yeah, it might be good for you, but everybody needs protections in the workplace and just in everyday society. Like I said, we're dealing with this police and with the judicial system. We got to have protections in place because of the fact that man has his hand in it.
Mm-hmm. Good. Leonard, what do you say to that? Who's the guards that's blocking this thing? Leonard, you there? Leonard, can you hear me? Rico, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you still on.
Oh, okay. Leonard must be having some issues with his line there, and so we'll come.
Man, I'm gonna tell you where I seen it the worst at. I seen it in Florida and Alabama. Though I take that back.
Mm-hmm.
When Gore and Bush was running against each other, and man, we know how things were under Clinton. It was pretty good financially.
Uh-huh.
I think we were, in a surplus. We wasn't in the negative back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had people that worked side by side with me, but they didn't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
It was the lighter shade of human being.
Yeah.
You don't want to vote for Gore. Gore's gonna take all the old cars out the road that's made before the 80s, and you won't be able to drive them anymore. Y'all like your old schools. I snapped on them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Number one, you're gonna throw a stereotype at me, and then number two, you think I'm simple enough to sit back and let my vote be determined based off of something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna take old school cars off the road. And number two, I knew that wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll use people like that to misinform you. People to come around and play like they're your buddy, your co-workers. People that believe in making sure, even if they got to stay where they are, at least they can keep you beneath them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to have any kind of possibility or opportunity of surpassing them because they don't want you coming home and being invited to dinner. What they say, guess who's coming to dinner? They don't want you to be the guest.
Mm-hmm. Leonard, what do you say to that, brother? Who do you think is the blocking forces that don't want these unions to come down south?
Well, it's pretty much exactly what Rico said. Can you hear me, Raheem?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
But one of the things I want to make clear is people need to understand how the union came about. The union came about because of the treatment of workers. And so the workers decided to try to come together in solidarity to represent their interest. This was not an easy thing. This was a fight. As Rico said, if you watch some of those movies or whatever, and you realize how the labor union was entrenched in not only just workers' rights, but they also were entrenched in organized crime, all types of things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the makeup at that time and who was in control at that time, it's completely understandable. So once this fight was won by labor, so to speak, it made union proliferate from, basically up north, across to the west. And we know we have, if further you go west, a lot of times they say the more liberal things become. as it relates to people's rights and things of that nature. But because corporate America has bought out government quite a bit, they are the ones that are controlling this.
Mhm.
Corporations actually donate money to prevent unionizing. There's
Mhm.
always an issue, even like say, where we gonna put a company at? Well, we ain't gonna put it here because they respect union rights here. So
Mhm.
we're not gonna locate there. Hey, but they're giving us a great tax break if we do. Well, let's go down there and see what we can get away with.
Mm.
And usually the South jumps right on board with that whole notion of that right to work state and we can do what we want to you. And if you don't like it, hit the bricks and blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
That's just the mentality of people who have been living under a very Confederate type of government.
Mhm.
And they completely believe that workers are basically second class. If you
Wow.
go to other countries like Britain, for instance, there's a Labor Party,
Mhm.
and the party is established to protect people who work. They have a Labor Party in government. So the Democrats have assumed the responsibility of being the Labor Party.
Mhm.
And this is why they are pro-union and pro-working people and pro-blue-collar workers. It's because of that relationship with the union.
Mm. Wow. Wow. That's good, man. And I'm glad we had opportunity to talk about this because a lot of people don't understand why how this whole thing works. So I think y'all really educated them on that. But now we're going to jump into our topic for today. And Rico, I'm gonna start it off with you. In light of everything that's going on and all the stuff that's going on in the world today, and this is a personalized question. Rico, what is your driving force? What keeps you going, man? When you see all the stuff that's going on and all the tragic situations that's happening in and around our countries and the world. Rico, what is your driving force?
The experience of life. That's my driving force, man. Regardless of what goes on, this miracle experience
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going through ever since my first day of realizing that I even existed
Mm-hmm.
has been a driving force for me. And so that's going to continue to be my driving force because when you don't wake up in the morning and get to open your eyes and see this, you know what, man, I'm going to tell you what I saw yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a story of a man that's been in a steel lung. They call it a steel lung. It's a huge machine that breathes for you.
Mm-hmm.
This man is 52 years old and he's been in it since he was 6 years old.
Good
He was
Lord.
stricken with polio.
Mm-hmm.
And when his polio hit him, it was one of the most severe cases they had seen. Only thing is, he survived. It hit him so hard that he couldn't live. But this man still, after 6 years old, being nothing but a head. The only thing he can move is his head.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of his body is probably wilted away because,
Mm.
like I said, he had to live in this machine or whatever. But he got a degree. He was a lawyer. I mean, he achieved so many different things. He's painted. He's written books just from his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
In this time. So I'm like, man, you know what? He had still a will to live. And before I saw that, I always felt that way. But then it reaffirmed it to me when I saw him say, I still didn't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
I still did not want to die. Yeah. He ain't never had sex a day in his life. He don't even know what that feels like. He don't know what it feels like to have the intimacy or just the companionship of a woman or man, if that's what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He don't know what intimacy feels like, but he just want to live. He just want to open his eyes
Mm-hmm.
and experience his little piece of existence that he is able to experience, because he won't be able to even experience that little bit if he was dead.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I look at life, man. Like, life is my driving force, man. When I wake up every morning, man, and I see these things called trees and I hear these things called birds, you know what I'm saying, man?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't nothing sweeter.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Good morning, Curtis. How you doing this morning, sir?
Morning, bro. Morning.
Hey, you talking into your phone?
No, I'm at work, so I'm trying to talk as loud as I can. What's going on?
Got you.
How y'all
feeling?
Hey, doing good, man. We're asking the question this morning, and with everything that's going on and all the trials and tribulations that's going on in our country and the world, Curtis, what is your driving force, man? What keeps you going?
What is my what? My
Driving,
driving force for
yes,
who?
sir.
What
What
the
is your
last
driving
said?
force, and what keeps you going?
The people, man. People. Black, white, candy stripe. The people. You know, whenever you're going through tumultuous times, you know, you find some of the greatest people at the most troubling times, man. Although it may seem like you're seeing a bunch of evil and you're seeing a bunch of foul things going on, you're seeing a bunch of people of all ethnicities, all colors, all races, all genders, even to the degree that this is one of the first times that I've seen it in my life where even down to the LGBTQ community, everybody is coming together, man. You know, I'm actually honored to live in a time when to be able to see when Dr. King's words become true to the mindset of the people. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. So, what keeps me going, man, is the people, bro. Like for real. I'm although you got a segment in society that still want to go by that old rule, the old law, the old culture. I see a larger segment of our American society that's kicking back against that. And I applaud them young folk, man. I applaud them. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Don't let them deter you. Don't let them scare you. Don't let them use none of the fear tactics that they've been using for the last 100+ years to make you scared of them. But yeah, man, the one thing that keeps me going is the people, man. I mean, of course, scripture, but
Yeah,
the
I got you.
people, they what brings scripture to life, right?
Absolutely. Captain Leonard, talk to me, brother. What is your driving force? What keeps you going?
Man, when you ask that question, I completely have to think. I mean, I don't think there's no one particular thing for me. And one, I meditate on this issue quite a bit to try to get some type of guidance, because in my life, I am not really that aware of that. I every day I get up, it's a blessing to me, and I have no idea why. So whatever God has for me for that day is the reason why He woke me up. Because He wakes me up, I have to live. And part of my living is trying to be a better person, trying to be the best I can. I have a family that I'm responsible for. So those are my, I have a lot of duty and things of that nature for what I do each and every day. But I try not to focus on everything when it comes to life. So when someone says a driving force, I'm often praying now for passion, because there's nothing I love so much that I'm willing to bow for it. So I'm searching now for one. That's what I love about Brother Kurt. Kurt does all these jobs, but his passion is acting. That's what he loves to do. He'd do it for free. That's how much he likes that. I'm looking for that in my life.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you have that same thing in regards to comedy? Because I know you love comedy as well.
Sort of, yeah. That's probably one of the things, but the struggle with that even is I have to be me. I have to be what I want to be. The moment I'm doing it the way you want it, it's not mine.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about stand-up comedy,
is the fact that I can come out and say what I want, and I can really man, it's hard to say. I've always been good at insulting people and making it funny. I did it all the time when I was a kid, even in barbershops and all types of things. But it's just something that I'm just doing. I like laughing and stuff. That's why I do that. And I imagine that would be a passion of mine, but not like other people. Because, man, that's why I love and admire people who accomplish things that they want to accomplish, that they set out to do. I mean, I just love that. Like my best friend, all his life he wanted to be a teacher and help children make better choices and provide opportunities for education. That's exactly what he does today.
That's good.
You know, if you want to be a doctor because you want to heal people, you know, then you become a doctor. Those people who eat, sleep, and drink what it is they dedicate their time to. Me, I'm just a servant, basically. I believe more in ministerial duties and those types of things and guidance by God to choose what I'm going to do. So it's rough, man. That's why I have to pray all the time, because it sucks sometimes. You know
what? And we're asking a question about driving force. And the phone lines are open, 678-381-1973, 678-381-1973. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you as well. We're asking the question, what is your driving forces? What is your driving force? Enrico, talking about the driving force, what have, if anything, failure has taught you about yourself that you didn't know?
Well, it taught me that I could get back up. That you know, you can't win all the time. You're not going to succeed all the time. I mean, that's where the trial and tribulations come in. It's trial and error. You know, learning the hard way. You know, sometimes you have to bump your head, get up and try it again. But you know, the thing about it is, most babies when they first started to walk didn't stop because they failed the first time. They got back up and did it again because they experienced what it felt like finally to get on their feet and move around just like everybody else they've been watching. And they've been watching for a little bit too long. So yeah, I fail. I don't see them fall like that. But at the same time, they do sit down and get back up and walk again. So maybe I can get back on my feet. And so just knowing that you can get back on your feet, that's what it teaches you. You know, when you fail or when you fall.
That's
but
good.
I really believe going back to the love of life for me that's what made me be a union representative. See, it's no problem for me to fight for myself, but when I love life enough to fight for others that are vulnerable, to fight for things to be fair for those that things aren't fair for, to protect those that are being bullied, I respect their sensitivity, their emotion. I respect where they are in life. I love life to the point to where I might not come off as kind and happy all the time. I love life so much, I'll do something to you if you disrespect me the wrong way. That's how much I love life. That's my motivation. My motivation is to make sure that if you try to stop my life today, you ain't gonna do that. I'll stop yours first. And I love this life. And I don't know what to expect after this for sure. But I do know what I see every day right here is something that I might not get to ever experience again. So I'm going to protect it, and I'm going to prolong it as long as I can. I love life.
Absolutely.
Love it. The mine and yours.
Absolutely. It's a good deal. Good deal. Curtis, I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Is that change coming, Curtis?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Without a doubt. No matter how much the opposing forces try to fight against it, it's coming. So you might as well get prepared for it. You know, brother Dante Wright, you know, let me just be honest. White Americans watch one of their own get slaughtered. I'm going to say that again. White America watch one of their own get slaughtered. You understand? The representation of his birth. It's a white woman.
Yeah.
You understand? The change is coming, man. You know, for all them cats that don't believe it, that's being skeptics, they're going to be the same ones that's going to be left standing on the roadside. Because change is coming. For us old folks that want to stay in that old mindset of getting things to happen or allowing things to
Curtis,
happen just because that's how it's
Curtis, let me ask you something. How would the old heads and some of the young folk, how would they recognize change? How would they recognize it?
The old folk?
Yeah, and the young and some of the young heads, how would they recognize change?
Well, they you know, old folk are people of action. And if they've been participants in this fight or participants in righteousness, the old folk got one thing that a lot of the young folk don't have. The old folk can stand on scripture. And if they're genuine with themselves, all them things that you called for, God is giving you. God is showing you. He's showing you everything about what he wrote in that scripture. Do these young folks, these old folks will recognize that change because they seeing that these young folks are now, okay, we done walked around the wall. The horn done blew. We too old to go run up against that wall now. Y'all young folk got to go. And they seeing these young folk, they going. Full throttle. Foot on the gas, 150 miles an hour, and they ain't hitting the brake. So I think when you speak in terms of the old folk recognizing, they're recognizing it, that these young folk actually, we thought they wasn't listening. We thought they wasn't understanding. But now we finding out, no, they completely understood what we were saying. They completely understood what Malcolm was saying. They completely understood what Mecca was saying. They completely understood what King was saying. They completely understood what Stokely was saying. And this list can go on and on and on and on. Right? So I think most of the old folk can have a greater understanding because the old folk are more connected to the scripture, the canons and the text.
Okay.
The young folk are moving and they calling their actions one thing, not even realizing their actions is directly correlating and lining up with the scriptures, canon, and text. I don't care what book you read. I don't care if it's the Bible, if it's the Quran, if it's the Torah, the Tanakh, the all of the writs. You know what I mean? The Buddhist, the Hindu Bible. I don't care which one you read. These young folks, their actions is lining straight up with what the scriptures are saying, bro.
Good deal.
Leonard, and the old folks know it.
Leonard, what do you say? What do you say to that? Leonard, you there? Hold on for a minute. I think we lost Leonard there. Leonard, you there? Captain Leonard. Let me go back to Rico. Leonard, I think Leonard has having some issues with his line once again. We're gonna go back to Rico. Rico, what do you say to that, man? How do you think one would recognize old heads or the young folk change?
Well, I think I want to see if I can get about this to express it the way I'm trying to get my point across. You know how sometimes when you're on the outside looking in, you can see how how things went a little bit better than when you were actually going through the experience.
Yes.
You know, you might be having relationship issues and you don't know what to do. But now let your friend come to you with those issues and you can analyze everything and give them some real logical advice. You
Mm-hmm.
can analyze it and see what the
Mm-hmm.
problem is.
Okay.
Well, old people, that's what their problem is. They won't understand change until they reap the benefits of it,
Mm.
because they were the ones that were making the foolish mistakes. See, this younger generation, they learned history and looked at some of the stuff that I looked at and said, wait a minute, this don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
This is dysfunctional. How did this get worse instead of better? And they realized that at some point in time, our elders dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But the elders didn't realize they were dropping the ball while they were dropping it. They might have been dropping it while I was high
Mm-hmm.
in the 70s. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So now, when you don't understand that you are part of the problem, then how you gonna understand when it was fixed?
Mm-hmm.
If you were the one contributing to it until you reap the benefits of it. So it comes a point now where it is being understood, because you see the older generation accepting accountability for dropping the ball,
Mm-hmm.
for not being the ones that's teaching the young in the household, for leaving it up to the school systems to teach their ancestral history or just the culture of where we came from. When they realize they dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So will they ever understand change? Yeah, but it looks like a miracle to them, because most of them didn't contribute to it properly.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that did contribute to the demise, or the ones that were on pace to do the right thing, they understand it.
So the
But
old
for some
heads.
of us, it's gonna look like a miracle. I can't believe it's like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I ain't think I was gonna never see this day, because you didn't have hope. You didn't have hope. You didn't have the right mindset, and you were part of the problem that didn't live like that was something that you had a motivation to see anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You just wanted to have fun.
So the
You just
old
want to
heads,
go out here and
old
do
heads
the
pretty
thing
much.
that white people did.
So the old heads was pretty much continuously feeding without knowing the old ways and keeping it.
They,
Go ahead.
they just dropped the ball. I mean, you know, it's an era in time where we started seeing more black people doing drugs than ever.
Mm-hmm.
A point in time where we started seeing grandparents raising more children than ever. And it was during that disco era, after integration,
Mm-hmm.
once the doors started opening up and we started indulging and biting those apples. Then the youth, the children, the offspring of those people, they didn't get the same nurturing
Mm-hmm.
that those parents had. So now those people that are experiencing those drugs, because I don't call it a drug,
Mm-hmm.
or you could put it in the same, or equate it to the person that's on drugs. When they get addicted to that crack or that heroin, they're in a stupor.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not thinking logically, and some of the stuff that they do, they don't even realize how much damage they're doing, because they have an addiction or a craving or a drive. You know, when you ask them, go, what's the driving force?
Mm-hmm.
Well, back then, people's driving force was just to live like the white people.
Mm.
So they dropped the ball. They forgot all about that history that the grandmamas was talking about, people coming in, raping their parents, nothing being done about it, people being lynched on the side of the road. They forgot about all those stories.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's when it comes to seeing that change or recognizing that change, they'll recognize it and they'll look like a miracle to them. It'll be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But they still won't really understand how it came about, because they probably were the ones that didn't contribute to it in the first place.
Exactly. Leonard, you back with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
What do you say to that, brother? How do you think the old heads, or even some of the young heads, is going to recognize this change?
Okay, first of all, it depends on the change you're talking about, because a lot of people talk about change and you can mean several different things.
Mm-hmm.
Things have changed whether you are aware of them or not. So, like Rico was saying, some people just didn't know. I mean, I don't know if it was they didn't want to know or they didn't care to know, but like Rico said, they probably just got accustomed to doing those things that they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they followed their desires, whether they be good or not. What actually happened was moral values decreased. So once you lose the value of being married and raising children, pretty much everything else is downhill from there. Once you believe for some reason that you shouldn't take, a person believes that they shouldn't take care of their children, or they have no responsibility, or they don't even feel a need to do that, oh, you're going to have a huge moral decline in your community.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens every time a people, I'm going to put in this perspective, a people turns their back on their God.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
This is what happens to you. If you choose to go after what the world has, then you'll get what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you got all these issues in your community. If you don't want to do the right thing, and then you got people, well, what's right? Okay, don't even worry about it because you're part of the problem. You don't even know what right is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a perspective. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly the difference between right and wrong, and you chose wrong, and that's why you deserve the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says what? Lust, the wages of sin is death.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So when you continually do things,
you reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow. And this is what you have sown.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is what you are reaping. I guarantee you, if you go back to a statute, one thing that is very important is marriage under God and focusing on family, the community would be better.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're not all this way, it's not. And you got people on this side, they just as wrong as two left shoes trying to make what they wrong right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never think you did no wrong, if you think everything is all good and you can do whatever you want to do, you're gonna get what's coming to you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Your children are going to get what's coming to them. Your children's children will get what is coming to them. Simply because you have no moral values.
Mm-hmm.
You have to establish these things. They don't just happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you need parents. You didn't know nothing before you came here. You don't know how to act. So you have to have parents to teach you that. And if you're dealing with a parent who is not a good parent, God help you.
Mm-hmm.
You're already handicapped in this world. You should be brought into this world with love and protection. This is very important.
Otherwise, you're going to find yourself down in that valley by yourself.
Right. Remember when people used to say, man, I want to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Remember people used to like, that was a big thing. It was very upfront. Let's make a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Now, babies are just byproducts of good times.
Wow. Wow. Got a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Caller, you there? 301.
Hey, man, you gotta clear that thing up, bro.
Hey,
everybody this morning.
What's going on, sir?
Man, hey, double salute to everybody this morning, man. Double salute to you, man. We're here one more day.
There you go.
One more day.
Yes, sir.
Get it right.
Absolutely.
Get it right. I was hearing my dear brother just speak some knowledge one of the things that I'm a big advocate of is we have lost our integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard him say that. I had to call in and tell him, I double salute you for that. Because I truly believe that I was hearing my dear brother Rico say that the old people have dropped the ball. But I'm here to tell you that I've met some soldiers that are still on the battlefield for us. And I don't believe they dropped the ball. I believe they've gotten tired. Mm-hmm. I'm saying this to you because I was listening to my mother talk to my niece last week when I was leaving out. And she was giving my niece specific instructions what to do because it was an issue at Savannah State that she called and asked her grandmother about. So I don't believe that they got the ball. I think what happened, a lot of people reporting information because they felt threatened.
Mm-hmm.
But I thank God that we have some people out here that are still spreading a good knowledge to these kids, because those kids have to go through somebody. Somebody has to advise them to do those protests. Trust me, because I'm sitting around people who strategize all the time. So somebody older is doing something, but as it goes to us as individuals, we got to learn how to start sticking together. That's why the change. That's why people are reluctant about change, because we have a tendency of not wanting to stick together. That's the problem. If we can really truly come together and stick together, this change will be. So you got to think. I was looking at Black Messiah, Black Jesus. I forgot. God Almighty, I'm looking at the door and I watched the help me. I fell asleep when I got married. Y'all help me out. Come on. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Black Messiah. Right. Man, I'm watching this show and I'm watching how he got in trouble and he infiltrated the Black Panther Party. Again, the Black Panther Party had nothing to do with him getting in trouble. Again, we got to stick together, bro. That's the problem. Just like when I see you on Black Friday, I hear you say it all the time. Those they should be flooding to come to you for free advertisement.
Yeah.
And they're reluctant to even get that. We have to stick together. That's the reason why it's going to change. So I don't do what you want it. I do what you trust in me and me trusting you. That's the biggest problem that we have amongst ourselves. We don't trust one another. That's it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I was looking at that thing. I was like, and I had fell asleep on it. I was mad because I fell asleep on it, but it was getting good where I got to the point where the movie where he was giving them the actual rooms they was actually sleeping in. And the girl, and I'm like, man, he didn't even take into consideration that his lady was pregnant. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it's about, and I fell asleep. But anyway, that's what I got from that movie. That we don't stick together. That's the reason why it's so easy to infiltrate. That's why it's so easy to introduce the drugs to the different alternative lifestyles to money, all that stuff. We don't do. We don't want to stick together. Period. We stick together. Trust me. This wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
And they lie. It blows my mind, man. It blows my mind. And we cannot. I'm gonna tell you. I hear Rico talking, and I understand what he's saying, because in some ways he's right. Because you got some people out there that are very easy, who are old heads. But let me say something. We can't hang everybody with the same noose. The same noose.
Good deal.
I'm telling you, we can't.
Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Let me get in here. Man. I think when we get on this show and talk, man, we speak in general all the time. Now, you know, it don't take a whole lot for me to realize that every black man and every black woman didn't drop the ball. But what I can say is I've seen a Representative John Lewis in my time. But then I know that my parents had more black figures to look at for examples. They had more examples of excellent black men and black women. They didn't have all the athletes and the rappers and the singers and entertainers that started straying them away from morality. See, somewhere, if you agree with Leonard saying we lost our integrity and morality, then we dropped the ball. If we talking about getting back unified, then we must.
But we didn't have a whole, brother.
Hold on. We must have dropped the ball somewhere. Now, I'm not talking about every person. That would be absolutely wrong for me to insinuate that, or for anybody to assume that I'm speaking about every person. But in general, we didn't have as many Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Stokely Carmichael. We didn't have as many people that could stand up on their own 2 feet and say, screw y'all. You get what I'm saying? And we had a few of them, Jesse Jackson. We had Hosea Williams. We had a few of them. Had a few people that still was around, that still kept on going. But then, at the same time, it wasn't as many. Why wasn't it as many?
I understand about that, brother, but you got to understand something is here. What you need to understand is here. When you make that general statement, You said they dropped the ball. You didn't say, and you didn't say, what I'm saying to you this here is that they had their time. And I'm not saying that they did not, they don't come to the table in good faith. That's not what I'm saying. But that's why I said we have to be unified. But the same token, you have some brothers on here that do the work. So we can't say we dropped the ball. My thing is that sometimes unification to us is more powerful than anything. If you don't believe me, look how they're trying to do with the voter registration and how they're trying to attack the voter registration and voting here in Georgia. I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. Once we unify, that's how powerful we can be. So we sitting here saying that we dropped the ball. No, we didn't drop the ball because we are sitting here saying that when we come together, we are powerful. We don't want to come together. It comes to a point that it's not young, old, it's us as a whole. It's one body. We have to understand. We have to work together at all times. We don't do that. We have a tendency of sitting here.
What is it? What is it? Let me ask you this question. Ricky, let me ask you this question. Ricky, let me ask you this question. And I agree that we all have to come together because we've been divided for too long.
Thank you.
But my thing is this right here. What is the force? We got to understand and recognize the force and the forces that's trying to keep us divided. Is it us trying to divide ourselves, or is it other things out there, forces trying to keep us separated?
Let me get
and were we ever unified? Because I heard the word reunify in that context.
I said we need to. I don't know about the read. I mean, we need to, because I seen it right here in Georgia. We put the state blue.
One at a time, bro. One at a time. I can hear both of you.
I said we need to. We need to. See, but think about it. It's like having candy. How many times your mother will tell you don't eat that candy because you get spoiled, because it'll spoil your dinner? Correct? Mm-hmm. Everybody heard that analogy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with the world. They give black folks that candy. See what they do? It spoils their dinner. Meaning that they don't have no more. That's why the more immorality coming in. When you look at people, man, they out here doing any and everything. They all on the Facebook checking hot pots and half naked, got the equipment hanging out and all kind of stuff. And it's like, man, come on, where's your pride in yourself? There's no pride. Mm-hmm. We have to go back to.
Me about this dropping the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a generation. That's that individual. Mm-hmm. You got folks. It was a little girl on here. What's the little girl? They were accepting the Holy Ghost. They were laughing at her. She she just turned 18. They say this woman made $1 million doing only, what do you call it? OnlyFans or only page or some of them mess they got going on. They said she made $1 million in a week, showing her hind parts. $1 million. She's 18.
What message?
Just like he was. That's what was saying.
What message?
Some of this stuff is inside us.
What message are we sending in a situation like that? What message are we sending? Rico, I'm gonna come to you. We got another caller. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Crazy, man.
My thing is how did we get to this point compared to where we were headed?
Mm-hmm.
Now we know our history. We know about the Voting Rights Act. We know about the Civil Rights Movement. We know about integration. We know about Jim Crow. Then we get stagnation. Now we're in a situation. Now we look at our community and we talking about girls making $1 million showing their hind parts, but ain't nobody dropped the ball. Now I'm gonna go back again and say this, and I'm gonna leave it alone. When I speak, I'm speaking in general. There was a generation that got distracted, and we had less people doing excellent things and leading by example. We did not have as many examples for positive, strong black men and positive, strong black women as we did in the past. So now you got the same little boys and little girls that are grown now that dismiss, or I'm going to say disrespect, how those people were in the past, because they saw what happened with our generation of parents. From the 70s all the way up to the 90s, we picked up a different value system. If we picked up a different value system, that took us off the path of excellence that we were on, we dropped the ball.
Do you think?
In general.
Do you think? And like I said, I have a caller. I want to go to the caller. Caller, come to you next. Do you think that we got more concentrating on money, finances, than morality?
All of that. We thought that the doors was open and that, you know, we had made it the easy street. We thought, okay, now we done made it.
Mm-hmm.
I got all the rights. I mean, just think about it. You had more access, more opportunity, more rights, and more support or more protection from the government. You had laws put in place. Yeah, you know, everybody thought that things were fixing to be better. Some knew differently. Some stayed focused and stayed pushing forward. But some started indulging. I mean, I seen it in the city that I'm from. I saw cities and school systems fall apart because everybody started favoring the other lifestyle that they didn't have access to. And it tasted and felt good. And they kept doing it. And we adopted a bunch of their morals, a whole lot of different things we picked up that didn't exist before then in our neighborhoods. I remember seeing black men in every yard in my community with a garden. Some had livestock, cutting grass. Now you don't even see little boys cutting grass. You see women paying guys to come cut the grass, Mexicans or somebody, and a little boy sitting up on the porch looking at his phone.
Wow.
Somewhere the ball was dropped. So I'm speaking in general. Like I said, I ain't trying to go back and forth about it, but I'm speaking in general. Individually, a lot of people started doing a lot of different things that, I'm going to say, for the most part, in the past, before integration, people had more of a focus. They had more of a drive and more of a goal for equality. People in the 70s and 80s thought they had it. So now we're in this situation where we fighting something that we thought was dead. Because 10 or 15 years ago, you couldn't have this conversation with some black people. Man, y'all still talking about that racism? Racism don't exist no more. I don't have no problem. Now we see that it didn't go anywhere. How did we think that it went anywhere? I mean, like I said, why are we still in the same battles that we're in now? Because somewhere we got comfortable and we stopped fighting and pushing forward with this drive that we had going, this movement. So now we're trying to pick it back up. So, you know, like I said, do
you think it's a lost cause?
No, it ain't a lost cause. It's just, you know, people gonna have to accept accountability. You know, like I'm the first one to accept accountability for running around here bumping Luke Skywalker 2 or 3 in the morning, waking people up talking about pop that piece. Every explicit word you can hear. I had 415s in the back of my car. Took my back seat out. I wanted you to hear this vulgarity. And not only did I want you to hear it, but I was living that life. Now I see what the trickle effect was. I see what the consequences was. Because now you got the same women want to live that same lifestyle. It's normal. I dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? I dropped the ball. Quite a few people dropped the ball indulging in immoral behavior, just like Leonard said. We did that. We picked up a whole lot of things that wasn't in our community at first. A lot of drugs. You know, I don't remember seeing a whole lot of issues with drug problems before Vietnam. But exposure, when they got people over there and got them exposed to different things they wasn't used to, it was like walking into a candy store. Imagine a kid going to sit fast for the first time. He ain't used to seeing it. He might get lost. You have to keep your eye on him. He ain't gonna know which way to go. That's what black people were when they came into integration.
Okay.
All these doors start opening. They start being able to sit at the lunch counters and go in the front door of the restaurants. And man, they want to go in that restaurant every day.
With or without money. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I think that'd be me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Tucson, my man.
What's really going on around the kid?
Man, our topic today is we're talking about what is your driving force with everything that's going on and all the stuff that's happening in the world today. Tucson, what is your driving force that keep you going and keep you motivated? What is it?
Finding the detour roads. Man, I be trying to get away from that foolishness. Because, you know, We want to get out of it in the crowd all together. We shall overcome. You better change the words to that song
Mm-hmm.
because some ain't coming.
Wow.
Some don't want to. Some don't. You got to. Might as well admit it. Wake up. I mean, we got to wake up, and because it's like I wish I could. Before I said that, I should have looked at it. But at some point, even when, and I'm gonna go here because this is what I do. Okay. At some point, the children of Israel were coming out of bondage, and because they were a stiff-necked people, they must have been us. I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
we act just like them. At some point, Moses had to say, "Okay, here's the deal. Whoever's on the Lord's side, come on over here." And the rest of them got dropped in the ground. That's how that worked. So you're gonna have to pick you and your family, if they so choose to, because some of them I just don't know. Make up in your mind to say, okay, here's the road we're gonna take. You start off if they're young enough to teach them like we're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
You can't train an old tree. You try to bend it, it's gonna break.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't say all of us. We're not gonna do it. We still got some on and videotaping each other fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that road. I detour from there. Get over from there. Okay, we got confusion in the neighborhood. This person doing this, others are doing things, and okay, they even if you get a part where some people say, okay, we're gonna fight for this, somebody's gonna get in the crowd and cause a disturbance, and then some more hammock or mayhem is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think that me, not trying to be selfish, but I can't bring everybody with me.
Mm-hmm.
They're not coming. But my drive is, I'm like Rico said, I heard that. I know what failure looks like. I know what disappointment. But then I gotta get back up and try it again. But not the same way. Because sometimes you try to do it as a we, and we ain't coming. Look at our neighborhoods and our schools and our churches. Look at Christianity as a whole. We're gonna present Christianity like the evangelicals? No, sir, they crazy. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying
exactly
that don't portray true Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I have to identify my own self and try to walk in a better way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gonna go to Leonard, then we're gonna go to Minister Neil. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh man, I almost don't want to waste your time. Because I'm trying to understand when y'all was together. See, I agree with a lot of things, but one, I'm not gonna sit here and act like black folks didn't have sin before white folk neither.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So there's no point where you so good. Okay. We're not gonna go that route.
Well, we also not gonna say that we was always so bad either. Now we you know.
Well, what we're gonna say is that one, we're gonna leave it where it was as you were oppressed by white people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then once you come out of slavery, then you get to choose how you live.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't make the proper choices, or you choose what you want, or you just follow after the desires of your heart, that's why you end up where you end up. I'm not looking to sit at your table.
Mm-hmm.
That's your table.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can fight for a movement all day, but I may not eat at your house.
Mm-hmm.
I may not lay my head in your house because I don't care for what go on in your house.
Macaroni saga, the peas all mush, and the chicken tastes like wood.
I'm
I don't
just
want it.
saying we have to understand, we have to know why it is. First of all, it's one thing to be upset, but you need to know why you upset.
Mm-hmm.
And too many people blame everything else but their choices.
Mm-hmm.
Being free don't mean you gonna choose the right thing. It means you have the ability to choose. So if
Yeah.
you're not choosing certain things, instead of blaming it on somebody else, why don't you choose the other thing? Just go
Mm-hmm.
and say it. You don't want to do right. You don't want to be with one woman.
Mm.
You don't want to do these things, and that's why you have what you have. People talk about, well, religion ain't this. One thing religion taught you is it taught you how to act. But you don't want religion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you don't want God, period. You never was this people that was just so righteous. So one, you still going through. You still trying to get there. I mean, how many of y'all perfect? Doing the right thing, made all the right choices. You didn't sit around and those white people be over there sinning, and I don't know about, you start acting self-righteous just like them. You've been wrong. You've been wrong. And if you don't want to do right, you're not going to do right. It don't matter whether you're free or not. So just because you're free doesn't mean you don't have a responsibility. There are some people prefer the life where somebody tell them what to do because they just don't know what to do themselves. And those are those people who are easily persuaded to ruin their lives. But you have to take responsibility for your own life. It's not my responsibility to govern Rico's house. It's not my responsibility to dictate to Raheem how he should live. I won't have a white master, and I damn sure won't have a black one.
Hey.
So that's what we have to understand. Y'all looking for somebody else to teach you to do right. You know what to do, what right is. You just don't want to do it, and now you shame to tell people you don't want to.
Okay.
You're going to blame it on other people, and you're going to find out that's why your situation not going to change.
Mm-hmm. Minister Neil, what's on your heart, brother?
Bible tells us clear. It says that you are responsible for your own salvation. What he just said, mate, kind of sums it up in that scripture. We have to be responsible. And my thing again, that's why I say we have to unify ourselves. We got to have individuals. You have to individually make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that to you because a lot of times, I'll give you the prime example. When I was out there selling dope, I was telling somebody yesterday. I said, my receiver coach is one of the people who saved my life. He was like, hey, man, you're pretty decent in football. Why you don't come out for the team? And I was like, man, I'm not doing it. But as time goes on, he kept coming at me, and he kind of probably said some stuff to me that he knew about, that he knew where I was headed. My point I'm making is that I had to make that decision. And again, I didn't blame my mama and them. I didn't blame this person. That was something that I was out here with my homeboy. I was out here with them. That's why I tell people, I said, that's like I was laughing at somebody was telling me about Clinton one day. I said, what made Clinton so much of a great president when he's the one who really locked us up? Somebody said, no, he didn't. I said, yes, he did. I said, think about it. I said, the Republicans put the drugs in the community. The Democrats locked us up. So where do black folk go? So again, we got to go back and say, it's an individual say, well, no, I messed up. Let me rectify it. I make an atonement. That's what the Bible tells you. You have to make atonement.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to never say we sorry. We want to say, hey man, I'm bad. I ain't need to do this. Even to the point, we so proud, we don't even want to ask for help.
Right.
I don't know. I'll come and ask you. If you don't believe, I said when Rico came out, was talking about something about the boy when Louis first was talking about this thing back last year when Trump. I wrote that down because he helped me.
That's right.
It's nothing called Leonard, I asked Leonard, hey, Leonard, I want you to be on my show. I want you to educate my people on what to do.
Mhm.
We had this type of conversation. I'm
Right.
not big out that kind of man that we sit here saying, I don't need. That's why I said we need to unify. Because again, you know that you pull from different resources to help you.
Mhm.
So we don't want it. We're too busy trying to say, oh well, they didn't do this and do this. So what? Okay, it's over. All right, then boom. All right, what's next? Ain't
That's right.
nobody have me in the whipping. Ain't nobody have me in the whipping that work up in there. I want to go and get the Mr. Coffee pot. They tell me to go out there and get them. I got to because my mother was struggling. I had got in my mind. My mother was struggling. I would have made me some extra bread.
Right. And also, Minister Neil,
You know what I'm saying? So,
just
that's all it was. And yeah, and that's all it is. For me, that's why I said I don't blame no 70s. I don't blame nobody. I blame me. Because at the end of the day, it's on me. Because guess what?
Right.
If I would have got caught, I would have did that time.
And also, Minister Neil, though sometimes you think a lot of people, you know, I'm not like one. I work on a lot of teams and I love teamwork, man. I love working with people and coming together to get things done and what have you. But sometimes people need to understand your hindrance is going to be that you're going to expect everybody to go along with what you say and get along with what you do and choose what you choose and blah, blah, blah. That is a ridiculous notion.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, you have to remove that from your thought process.
What it is. And the reason why that is because you got to think about me as a preacher. One thing people always say about me, I'm hard nosed.
Yeah.
I don't play. Everybody says about me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know that about me. Everybody know when it comes to that gospel, if you, I'm gonna check you. I'm gonna check you. And I don't care how you look at me. I'm gonna check you. But that don't mean that I don't love you.
Right.
That's the key to this. See, people think because I'm like, nah, bro, that's not right. No, you can't say that in front of me. If anything, you watch what you say in front of me about the God that I know. And the reason why I say that because I was just down there with a 93-year-old woman that was dancing with stage cancer last week. 93. And she still was making phone calls for the NAACP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm fussing at her, telling her to put the phone down. Fussing at her.
Still doing it.
That's why I keep believing me. That's what I said. It's about the love that you have for the person. That's why I say we have to be unified. That's why it has nothing to do with this generation, that generation. We can all, it don't matter. Sometimes that's why the God tells us in the scripture. He said, you got he gonna separate. Sometimes you gotta separate that junk. Some people don't even need being in the organization anyway, because they force it. I don't care how they are. They could be 90 and they could be 9. Those are the things that you have to start looking at. That's why with me, I'm like, I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people can't stand it. But I tell you one thing, when it comes to that gospel, you better come correct with me. But if you don't, I'm going to look at you. 2 things going to happen. Either I'm going to check you or I'm going to leave you alone. Period.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
I hear everything.
Mm-hmm.
I hear everything.
Let me go to Donald Tucson. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? Wake up and go.
Leave my man down in Tucson alone, bro.
The sad thing, and this is sad, and this may not go well with somebody. But it's all right. Again, not well. We are unhealthy anyway. But this may be a scripture that we always run back to when we get in trouble. But I'm gonna run there anyway. If my people, which I call by my children,
Come on,
turn from their wicked ways. You know, da 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 da. It's like saying da 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 da, because you're not gonna do it.
you're not.
There are some that they made up in their mind that they're not gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna throw it out there again. And here's the remedy for mankind. I don't care if you believe in him or not. There is, I believe, a higher, let me just say a higher power. Some don't believe that. That's good. Okay, fine. Well, you fix it then. since you made your own self from the what you call that, the when the total chaos came about, and this world just, if there was another world, if there was other people before Adam and Eve, whatever the case may be, when that was,
Yeah.
what happened to that? Suppose maybe perhaps they act like us. See,
Mhm.
God gets out of us every once in a while, and He does something. How you gonna stop that? The only way to stop it is to act right. So He gonna get you some act right one way or the other. Suppose,
Act right.
man, you know what? You know how your parents used to tell you something and you just didn't want to listen, didn't want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then they stop telling you. And then you looking crazy because now, since you didn't listen, things start going bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then every once in a while, because they love you, I didn't understand it. Didn't make them talk about it's gonna hurt me more than I hurt you. I just wanted to tell you, I'm hurt. What's
Mm-hmm.
wrong with you? Can you go in at 11 o'clock while and wait until I get in my underwear and then you come with it? Yeah. Some people don't agree with that. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something that happened to keep me from going to jail. Keep me from okay. Well, who was it better? Your parents to discipline you, or when they tell you to get up and go to sleep, and you got the orange uniform or the striped uniform on? Which one you want? So what I'm
Mm.
saying is, I think God's sick of us.
Wow.
Loves us, loves us. But see,
Amen. Amen.
when
Amen.
you turn a person over to a reprobated mind, that means you go on and do what you want to do. You go ahead and you do it, and let's see how it work out for you.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, how is it working out for us? I'm not
Wow.
talking about us as a whole either,
Mm-hmm.
but individually, how is it working? Because maybe you got your house right, but when you step out your house, you still got a mess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how
So
do you
who is
and how
if
do
it
you
ain't
invite
God? Who
some
is it?
and how do you invite even if you have your house right, how can you invite someone else to come into your home? Because
Man, I think I'm having them problems again, Raheem.
There we go. Leonard, we got kicked off, brother.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You see me sending you a message. You see my screen came back in.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, we got everybody back on right now. Let me see. Hold on, do this right here, and we're gonna keep this thing going. Technical difficulty, y'all. Technical difficulty, y'all. Captain Leonard, if it go out on me, like if it take me out, just keep it going, brother, and I'll be right
Hey,
back.
I was out myself. So
Oh, you okay?
that's why I was trying to call as well. There's an issue on the line as well too. So you may want to work on that a little bit.
Oh,
Did you get your calls back?
Yeah, we got the calls
There
back.
we go. There we go.
Yeah, we got about
This little malfunction did something different this time, man. 'Cause we was on the phone still talking to each other
Right.
while Rocky was gone. I was like, man, I said, this thing must kicked in a whole different virus.
Lord.
You got some high tech stuff going on over there, man.
Man, look at them folks. Don't want us talking about this stuff, man. They don't want us talking about this stuff. We talking about unity and coming together, man. Look at what we start. You know, a lot of times in reality, when we get together and start talking about unity and coming together and making a positive difference in our community and in our lives, things happen, man. Things happen. But
the evil forces come together.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so that's the thing right there, man. They don't want us talking about this. They don't want us talking about unity, and it's a sad thing, man. Because I think if we come together, if we come together and get unified the way we should be, I think it'll make the whole world better.
But you know what? We can't use that as an excuse.
No, we can't. We can't.
When you talk about unity, think about it. Moses
Mhm.
was on his own at one point. Joshua on his own at one point. When it comes to certain things, what is going to happen is there's going to be a group of individuals like it is now. You still have people fighting. Everybody ain't fighting, but you still got a certain amount of people fighting.
Yeah.
So one, I don't want people to get too dependent on this quote unity issue. No, we need to fight for what's right. Everybody need to fight for what's right.
And see, and that's a part I think, and I could be wrong in this, and y'all certainly tell me if I am. I think that's a part of the unity. We all fight.
But we have to think about it as allies, because one thing about allies, the word is a better word than unity. It says you're coming together for a purpose, and that purpose is to defend. It's not that me and you eat the same thing, like the same music and all. It's not that.
It don't have to be that. It don't have to be that.
Us coming together and becoming allies in the fight against evil and oppression.
And see, and that's a big part of my point, what I was saying, because if we come together, and unify, and then if we come together, unify, get a target. Like I think me and Rico was talking about this a couple of days ago. Get a target and make sure that we focus on a target, and then bring everybody. If we all get on the same page, I don't care whether you're black, white, orange, polka dot, or striped. I'm going to treat you with love and respect, and I expect you to do the same thing with me. And if that be the case, then there'll be a overall unity amongst the people.
That's impossible.
Not necessarily.
Yes, it is.
They said
that's why somebody got to go to hell.
People told me when I was growing up. People told me that when I was growing up, and because I said, would there ever be I always ask questions. I've always been a question asker. Would there ever be a black president? And fellow told me no, that's impossible. That it's impossible that you'll ever have a black president in this country. It'll never happen. And where it came from, I kind of believe because of where it came from and who was saying it to me. Until I saw Barack Hussein Obama being nominated not once but twice as the president of the United States of America.
And even that notion that people used to have, I never had. Because one, when people ain't gonna never be a black president, I tell you what, then I'll be the first black president. I always knew we get a black. All you gotta do is go and vote for him.
But that was the mindset. Though.
Exactly. That's how closed-minded people were.
Yeah.
But those who had a belief that things would change started a fight that began to win. And this is how we begin to make these gains.
Exactly. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Rico. You was about to say something.
You know, Leonard broke down the meaning of unity a second ago, and some people really don't understand it. Now, me personally, when I hear the word unity, the definition automatically comes to mind. That unity cannot happen without each individual coming together. So it's still like you said, that's an individual thing. Every individual got to make a choice to come together for the same cause, to fight against it or for it. And so I said that earlier about accepting accountability. I said myself that I accept accountability for embracing and endorsing certain behaviors and music and stuff. And so I think that's when we have to start realizing when we hold ourselves accountable, we don't only have to hold ourselves accountable for the bad things or the mistakes or the failures of the past, but hold ourselves accountable to step up and do the right things.
That's right.
To step up as individuals and do what's right or what needs to be done. So a lot of times when I say holding ourselves accountable, I don't want anybody to think, oh, you got to go and blame yourself. You got to go back and say, yeah, I'm wrong. No, hold yourself accountable by stepping up and doing what's right. Put the phone down. I saw a video last night. 2 guys were fighting, one-on-one. Well, one dude got to the point where he couldn't take no more. He was out of his league. So the other boy got behind him, did a real naked choke. Now the girls that was there, they wanted to see the fight at first, but then when they couldn't get the dude off of Buddy, they was helpless. But it was one man out there recording it. Guess what he was saying? Let him go, man. Let him go. That's enough. You gonna kill him. You choking him out, dog. Let him go. But he didn't put the phone down to get him off of him. He's gonna sit there. He was gonna record it like they did with George Floyd. So that's why I say, you know, as individuals, we have to hold ourselves accountable for not doing the right things and wrong things. I hold myself accountable, but at the same time, I can observe, identify, and then inform people of others that I see doing the same thing, good or bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Minister Neil, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, what's on your heart, brother?
I mean, that's true. We have to have to show some kind of our own responsibility for our actions. I think that's a lot of our issue as well. And there's a picture I hear people blame pastors and preachers and churches for how they're not praising God. And I'm like, well, if God cracked this scare right now, you think He's gonna care about a minister need? He's gonna ask you, what's your relationship with me? We have to take that the same. We have to take that the same way that we do with everything. The individual is the person which is you, that's going to guide you to do the right thing or the wrong thing. In a nutshell, that's what we've always been on this call, that we have to do right. We have to take some kind of responsibility and do right. And it's like, what the hell is put your hands up? Some of this stuff is just common sense. And we won't even do that because we're saying, like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Right, come on, bro. Honestly, this ain't for real. I'm so sick of people telling me our vote didn't count. Apparently, it did count because they're trying to change the voting law. So again, we have already, and Keisha Lance Bottom, and I love her for this. And I'm not just saying it because she went to town. Excuse me, throwing that plug out there.
Lord.
Go regular.
Throw that plug out. I just throw that plug out there. She's Samuel as well.
Lord.
But still, when she made a comment,
Look at this message, man.
Hey, man, we got to. But she said something that was so profound. She said, even though they changed the laws, now we need to change the way we vote. Period. And I understood what she was saying. She was saying that's not going to stop us from still making the same changes that we want to make, if that's what we really want to do. Again, when we were talking about change, you have to first get out your best assurance and be the one who want to change. You got to want to change yourself. You know
That's
what I'm
good.
saying? So it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to be like, well, we need to be this and be that. And you don't even want to change. That's why I say,
Mhm.
like when Donald said earlier, everybody can't go. You right. Because think about it. He alluded to it. But that is, but the Hebrews. Therefore, walk 40 days, and it's been 400 years.
Mhm.
Think
Yep.
about it.
Exactly.
They had to
Exactly.
die off.
I
They had to
like
kill them
what
off.
he just said. But even with all the laws that have just been passed, and
Mhm.
we see the effort of the enemy, fight it. Regardless of whatever law they make, guess what? Get yourself ready to vote.
Mhm.
Get yourself ready to vote. If you want to fight back and you want to show how unified you is, be a part of the people who know the power of the vote. The organized are unified. That's the organization.
Mhm.
See, if you get organized and you get taught how to do certain things and you become a part of certain things,
Mhm.
and then you share that information with someone else, this is how we build up this need for people to understand how important it is to vote. I don't care what law they make. Just go vote.
Mhm.
All you got to do is go vote.
Yep.
If you know right now you got a problem getting to the polls, make arrangements with somebody right now. Man, could you take me to the polls?
Mhm.
Man, I would rather you come and say, I couldn't get nobody to take me. Then you just sat back and didn't say nothing, didn't
Yeah.
ask nobody, was complained about the law. I'm
Mhm.
voting regardless of the law. It don't
Mhm.
matter to me what law they put. I'm gonna be down there to vote when it's time to vote. I don't been down to the city. I live in a rural part, right? So
Mhm.
I used to go to the city election and go down there and say, I just came down here to check and see if the rules had changed on whether or not I could vote. Because I wouldn't want y'all to be down here letting everybody else vote except for me. And
Yeah.
they just laugh. Well, Mr. Jones, you live on this side of the street. Okay, I just wanted to check to make sure because I'm new around here.
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. They
Because,
want no dispute.
I want to make sure y'all wasn't in here voting and I wasn't here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? I'm that type of dude. I'm going to go see first.
Mhm.
I'm not going to, well, Raheem called me on the phone and said, you know how they be acting. If I was you, I wouldn't even be about, don't even worry about it, Raheem. I'm going to handle that myself because I got a civic
Mhm.
duty to vote. See, I'm a
Mhm.
citizen. So I got to go vote. That's a part of being a citizen.
Exactly.
See, I once wasn't a citizen. I was in the military and I wasn't a civilian and all this type. So I know the importance of citizenship. Oh, and by the way, that little thing with Jim Crow and slavery. Oh yeah, I remember that too. I remember
Mhm.
how people was trying to keep us from voting. So guess what I'm trying to do? If I know if it irritate the white man that I vote, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna vote
Vote.
every chance I get.
Mhm. Tucson, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
I'm gonna go to this again.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna read this. Might
Mhm.
not like it. I'm gonna read this too. It says, "Enter ye in at the straight gate.
Mhm.
For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction,
Preach.
and many there be which go in thereof. But straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it." Let me say
Yes.
something about
Mm.
that. All I have to do is find you going that way, the straight way, because I don't do everything right. Every once in a while, I get off wrong. But if I find somebody traveling, trying to get to the straight gate, I promise you, I'm gonna reach out to you and I'm gonna say, "Help me."
Mhm.
What good advice have you got? Because see now, that's destructive gate. Everybody going that way.
Russian to get through it.
Everybody running,
Mhm.
running to get there. But it leads to destruction. And people telling you it leads to destruction. You keep on going that way, you're gonna find yourself in a ditch with the
Mhm.
rest of the blind folks that
Mm.
think they see and think they hear, but they don't see and they don't hear because you can't tell them nothing. The only people that are right is them. How
Mm.
can you walk together unless you agree? So there must be a lot of people that agree that they crazy.
Mm.
I'm just saying.
Say it.
Because we rushing into a hole. and we getting there very fast. But somebody's hollering in the road. There's a hole in the road, and he the fool. But you done fell in there, and your partner's in there, your kinfolk, your nana, your power, and your uncle, and your auntie.
All of them.
And your sons and your daughters, they don't know whether they want to be this or that. They have green and orange and purple. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You do what you want to do. I mean, do what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. If that makes you feel better about yourself, that's good. Perfect. It's the outer appearance. God ain't studying that even anyway. Man, look at that. But the heart, that stony heart that you have, that says even can I? No, I can't say that one.
What was you gonna say? Send it to me. I say it. Send it to me.
No, but I mean, they say, and they want to blame it on the Christians.
Yeah.
Well, suppose, okay, let's move Christianity out the way, move religion out the way, get out all of that. We ain't talking about the Bible. I know I use the Bible verse. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay, if we move all of that, move Quran, move the Torah, move all of that out the way, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what you gonna do?
Going the wrong way. What's your solution? If God didn't make the world, you make you one. Oh, excuse me, you're gonna have to use your own dirt. Where you gonna get it from?
No.
I'm just saying.
I love Donald on fire with that one right there. I'm gonna tell you, that's truth. That's truth. You can call it what you want, man. That's why I like to hear Donald, because Donald reminds me of my a little bit of my dad and older people from that way who had to really fight to make a way for themselves. So they ain't got time to sit around and listen to you about this foolishness. You chose that. And I used to know there'll be a saying when you see, man, like you have seen people laying in the gutter or what have you, or got folks, when you come home drunk, that woman may not let you in, so he may be on the steps or something, past or whatever. And folks say, the way you live is the way you gonna lay.
Yeah.
Plain and simple as that. I don't expect a dog to be nothing but a dog. My godfather said, I spent all this time washing this dog, getting him clean and smelling good. And soon as finished and blow dried him, and he took his behind out there and ran and rolled around in that dirt. He's a dog. And we keep constantly trying to make things what they're not, trying to make evil good or what have you. And then when it collapses, now you blaming everybody else. So, man, come on, stop.
Basically, you're saying you can't train that apple tree to be an orange tree.
No, you can't do it. And so you diversity is there for a purpose. God didn't make all the birds look like. So diversity is a part of nature. We are different. It's what we choose that brings us together.
Good deal.
But we are all different.
Absolutely. Let me go to Rico. Then we got a caller coming to you next. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Actually, we got two calls.
One of the things I realize is that we have to realize there's a consequence or an action, a result from everything that we do. Might be major, might be small. It might be very minor to the point where we realize we think it doesn't mean anything. It's as simple as cleaning a house. The result behind that is that you got a clean house. You keep a clean house, you keep hygiene up, you keep bugs out, all kind of stuff like that. But it doesn't seem that important. So, people don't realize the importance of the consequence behind that action. They'll think they aren't important. Leonard said something a second ago about them changing the voting rights. Well, some of these people, I ain't gonna say they had to be convinced to go out and finally participate. Before you had to almost pull their teeth. Man, look, go vote. And they showed up. But guess what this is gonna do? And they knew this. They knew automatically when they started making a fuss that this was going to make some people not want to participate.
That's a strategy.
Automatically. They don't want to feel like having to go through. They don't want to make no more extra effort. Even though it might not take but 5 minutes to vote. They don't want to go an extra 5 miles, but they'll go an extra 20 to go pull some slot machines, maybe an extra 200 to go slot machine levers and come back broke. But they don't want to go there. So they knew already that, you know what, this is going to discourage some people. All we got to do is go out there and prove again that we trying to make it harder for them. We're going to tell them that we won't even let nobody hand water out to them. They ain't going to say, you know what, I'll bring my own water.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? See, it's still, you got to maneuver. But we once we realize there's a consequence behind our action and inactions in every move, then we'll start doing better. You know what I'm saying? That's individually and as a group, as a culture, as a human race, as a race of people, human race. We have to understand the consequences behind our inactivity and our activity.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we got Toya with a T with us. Toya with a T, you with us?
Oh yeah, you thinking right there. Good morning.
Good morning, Toya. We need some progesterone today.
Oh Lord, Leonard using them big. He must went to one of them nice public schools and using them big old words. Look at that. He must went to one of them big.
That ain't no public school. That's private because they don't teach.
Yeah, you forgot. Leonard say he went to the Catholic school, man. He went up there with the up there, folks.
I went to a public school, but I hung out with the Catholics for the freebies after school and on the weekends and in the summer.
Look, that's where you picked up them big old words at.
Look, clearly you was paying them attention and not trying to convert them over to your side. And my bad, I was on the wrong side of the team back then, so didn't learn that part. But they learned about
cookies and juice.
Anyway,
exactly.
Somebody said this earlier. I say this all the time about it not being on God. And if it ain't no God, then unkill yourself then. Kill yourself and unkill yourself.
Wow.
Blink, go ahead and make another word. Go ahead, speak it again. Speak it again. Say let it be light. Boom, nothing happens. Get your butt up out of here talking about what it ain't. Come on, man. I don't do that no more. I live in that deception. I had to live in that deception because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to treat men the way I wanted to treat them. I wanted to have multiple partners. You can't be trying to listen to what God's telling you and doing half the stuff that the devil wants you out there doing. So stop letting the devil use you. Stop.
Now let me ask you this question. Now let me ask you this question, Toya. I'm gonna take you to the topic for the day. And everything that's going on, and there's a great segue how you put that out there, so that's gonna work perfect. In the world as it is today, all the stuff that's going on, Toya, what is your driving force? What keeps Toya going?
The Lord. That's it. Toya checked out a long time ago, man. You know, Toya been through a lot. From 9 years old, Toya was a lot. Toya was her own God and probably some of these cats too. I was too much. So I know for sure that it's nothing but the Lord that helps me and keeps me igniting and wanting to help people because people have been terrible to me. It's nobody but God that makes me want to still stand up and be a God-fearing woman to a man because men have been terrible to me. So there's nothing but a good God who can remind you about who you are and allow you to rise up upon all that adversity and still be able to walk and feel like a queen. Right? So, like, the world has so much going on. Do what you want to do. I'm doing what the Lord said, and I've always been like this, even then. If I feel like I want to go get somebody one, I'm going to go get somebody one, and your honor, you can give me the keys. I'll go turn myself in. I'll go turn myself in when I'm done. Because you don't run me. I'm a whole human being over here. When you able to tell them, the police don't even listen to you about killing a whole human being. You finna come over here and bother me about a bottle of water. Boy, you better go find somebody else to be a zombie for. Don't put these suits on. Don't get it twisted with this little piece of ID they give you, and these little piece of paper check that ain't worth nothing, and have it twisted to where you can't make up your own mind, where you can't determine the difference between right and wrong. I done walked away from a lot of jobs because my bosses wanted me to check. Oh, well, the chicken numbers ain't right. Well, I don't know what to tell you, sir. I'm not going to lie for me.
That's right.
I'm lie for me. That's something different. If I'm going to go to jail, it's going to be for me. But on the job, I don't do that. Oh, well, we over in labor. You got to change some of their hours. I ain't changing nothing. Here you go. Take your keys, bro.
There you go.
You're not
I
going to
can't
buy
do
me.
it.
Oh, well, look your job. Oh, well, you're my wife. Oh, well, you're my daughter. Well, honey, I'm like Miss Sophia. You better kick rocks, talk about what you got to talk about, and I'll be worrying about the Lord later. Because you're not going to be doing me any kind of way talking about the name of a law or the name of a sisterhood or motherhood or kidhood. No, you're not. No, you're not. So, you know, this world right here, hey, if you're going to, so-called buck the system, right? We got to start bucking the system on some of these right things, man. Don't just, I said this to a young man the other day, too. Don't just buck the system talking about you got to be a drug dealer. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Don't just buck the system talking about, oh, I got to be a pimp. I got to do that, but I don't want nobody to pimp my daughter. No, you don't. You so hard. You so strong. You so strong. You go out there, put your life on the line. No, you can't sell no drugs. No, these cops might kill you. You a chump. You so hard. Go get education. How about that? Go get a doctorate. How about that? How about you stay down with the woman that you slept with for 17 days and make baby with, and you stay there and deal with some of the things that they going through? How about that? When you can do that, then I'll call you a man. Until then, you still walking around here acting like you got to listen to everything. You ain't got no mind. You ain't got no brain. Oh, they said I ain't no man. They said I can't have no job.
Preach, Toya.
You chump.
Good deal.
You chump.
Good deal. Minister Neil, what's on your heart, brother?
Saying this opening him for the door of the church to be open.
Come on, Mr. Neil.
You can get her license. Praise the Lord.
Yes, indeed.
Right. So, you're definitely right. I mean, these young brothers have to be called out. They have to be. And sometimes, those are the things that don't sound good, but it is. It's like medicine. You know what I'm saying? That's like I tell people all the time. I say, you can't always. It's not gonna always feel comfortable when you follow God. I know even with me, it's not comfortable sometimes with me. I have to obey His word. So that's what it is. She's so right. They need to. You say you're hard. Tell them how hard you are. Just say you kid. Step about it. Not so much financial. Sometimes you have to get spiritual, because you got to think these kids go through so much mentally. At school and things that nature, you can get everything programmed from that. They implant all these other things in their head about you can do this and be that and be who you are. No, man, come on. How you at 7 years old? How much you want to do? You want to be another little boy? That's insane. But they come up. But guess what? They learn at school. My teacher said, "Who is your teacher? Teacher don't pay no bills." Come on. So she's right. Hey, again, like I say, when I see you, I'm gonna have your license ready for you. So you just teach your crowd sermon. So let's get you ready.
Gotta get it ready. Absolutely. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
Going back to what Toya said, man. I just agree with her wholeheartedly because she tells you a story from the beginning to where she is. She don't be skipping nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like she say, she's been treated horrible. And the way out of that was through Christ. I mean, I don't fault people for doing whatever they want to do. That's why I don't have a problem with gay people and with pretty much anybody. As long as you're not bothering me, as long as you're not hindering someone else. So that choice that you made, trust me, if that's a bad choice, it's going to tear you up enough to where you understand the choice that you've made. But we're just all trying to express to people that just be better. If you messed up today, try not to mess up tomorrow. Have a commitment to doing the right thing. You may not be able to be like Rico or Raheem or what have you, but be the best you that you can be. If you don't know what it's supposed to look like Minister Neil say, get some help. Go ask somebody. It just broke my heart when I first realized that everybody's parents didn't love them. That just broke my heart when I was younger. That kids didn't have the support from their parents or they were neglected. And because all I could think about, what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
You come in, you're helpless when you come into this world. And then to have the person that gave birth to you drop you like that, woe is that person. My goodness. It's almost as people do things now and there's no consequence. You got some people, I'm going to have these kids just to get on the system. That is a negative mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to think higher if we're going to go higher. I think that's what, then they know what Michelle Obama always said, when they go low, we go high and all that. But you know, what's not being taught, I think we were taught to be better, not just better than white folks, but better than other black folks as well. If you don't want to sit in school and get good grades, guess what? I'm going to sit in school and get good grades. My friends, we used to challenge one another. What you get on that test? What you get on that test? We used to sit and study with one another so all of us could get ahead, man. When you go to college and you start getting into the upper levels of college, if you ain't in no HBCU, what you see is there's smaller numbers of black men. You may be the only black man or 2, 3 in your doctoral program. So what we would do is get together and study together to help one another. If you slow in math and I'm good in math, I'm gonna help you in math. You help me in English. But it was about us being successes, at least being able to get what we wanted and desired.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want a whole bunch of kids and baby mamas and all that type of stuff. So I had to make the decision not to do that. You know, you have to really plan parenthood. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be always caught off guard. Oh, I'm pregnant. Now how you think you got pregnant? You know, you keep telling, ain't nothing worse than a woman that keep telling the same story over and over.
The watermelon seed, brother. They eat
you know, every men this relationship didn't work. Now you got women talking, I had 30 relationships, ain't none of them work. Still talking about men ain't no good.
Wow.
Right.
Rico,
come on now.
Talk to me, Rico.
We really don't have to complicate things as much as we do as human beings, but we do. For some reason, we well, I ain't gonna say we try to complicate things, but for some, doing the right thing is complicated. They assume it's complicated. It's too much effort to try to do the right thing when really and truly it's not that hard. It's just that they don't have a value system that tells them that they should do the right thing. Some people like to take the easy way out. That's why you got thieves. You got people that like to steal because they like to take things the easy way. It's easy to have a baby, but it's not easy to raise it the right way, to nurture it, to support it, to make sure that you're not sabotaging it, to make sure that you're not mentally abusing that baby. Because sometimes if you don't know any better, you won't do any better. You think that's the way it's supposed to be. Man, he need to be tough. Get up, little nigga. Hit him in his chest. That's abuse, bro. You know, but see, it's easy to have a child and not know any better. That's the easy way out. Just lay down, man. Let me go and get some. I'll show her I'm the man. That's the way you're gonna prove you're a man, by having a baby. So you know, we have, I ain't gonna say we, because that might get me in trouble. Some individuals assume doing the right thing is very complicated, when really and truly it's just a matter of some don't want to restrain themselves.
Right.
From doing deviant things. So that's really what's hard. What's hardest for you is for you to say, you know what, man, I think I'm gonna pass up that woman this time. I know I can go over there and get it, but I ain't gonna do that, man. You know, I'm really tired of living like this, man. You get what I'm saying? So you know, it's not that complicated, but you know, in the toxic environment, people will tell you it's hard to turn something down. It's hard to turn down a woman. It was hard for me in the past. I mean, I actually, like I said, holding myself accountable again. The only reason I was ever a whore because the streets told me that's what I needed to be. And I was a fool. I was a fool for turning down all these women, even some of them that I didn't want to get with, because some of them women was going to say that I was a punk for not giving them the goods. I still made that decision. I had to hold myself accountable. I felt like it was too hard to turn it down. Man, I couldn't resist. I couldn't help myself. And there's been some situations where I used that excuse, but when it really boiled down to, it was something that I wanted to do. I craved, or I had the urge to do. So it's not that complicated to do the right thing. It's more complicated to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah,
you want to do the right thing.
Exactly. Dollar Tucson, talk to me. Then I'm coming to you. Told you what to see.
Just get tickled. Let me see if I can. I don't know, man. We just have to make our own choices. That's about all. That's all I can say.
I like what Facebook user commented.
I can't tell you what to do. It's your thing. I can't tell you.
Oh Lord.
Sing it, Tucson.
Oh Lord. Don't encourage you, man. Don't you do that. Leonard, don't
Come
you
on,
do that.
Tucson. Turn
No,
it up.
don't
Turn it up.
Don't turn it up. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.
Hey, you know what I just thought about though?
What's
a lot
that?
of those songs, man, when you hear them, they don't never tell you about the consequences. Think about R. Kelly saying, "Let's go half on a baby."
Yeah.
Or you reminded me of Jeep and what he wanted to do to you when he rode in that Jeep, but they never told you. They never tell you about the consequences. And I told you about them hot grits.
Boy,
he didn't sing about them, did he?
And my mother told me something that really helped me with that issue. And she told me, don't let a young girl ruin your life over 5 minutes of pleasure. Don't do it. It's just not smart.
Yeah.
You know, my mother and father taught abstinence. And however, they would tell young girls that you can lie to me all day. 9 months tell it all.
Yeah.
So you can be out there thinking ain't nobody looking and slipping. But guess what? That baby gonna be proof. And you ain't gonna be able to lie to nobody. And see, that's the way things happen. Like you up here, I'm gonna just do these drugs behind closed doors. Now you outside running up and down the street half naked. What started inside, guess what? Slowly crept outside. Now, I'm like Rico, but Rico's a little better than me when it comes to certain things like this. Now, I love underground. My rap music and everything, but that's where I wanted to stay. It should have been underground. That's where it was meant to be. That kind of carrying on we was doing, that was meant to be underground and in the dark.
And now we see the consequences.
Exactly.
Look, and then you find yourself in a situation.
I wanted to make this comment when a female was on the line because I wanted a female's point of view. I'm gonna tell you how wicked things have got. Whores are calling themselves the same as wives.
They say they're empowering women.
Remember that? Remember, you used to have to be a lady. Remember what being a lady is about. Now the whore sitting around and we just like wives. No, you're not. Well, what's the difference between being married and being a prostitute? See, these fools don't even know the difference. That's why they talk like they talk. They want to think that they're empowered. You're empowering to do what? To feed the beast. That's what you're doing. You're empowering yourselves to feed the beast.
So would that be a lack of understanding what a wife really is supposed to be for them to even grab onto that and say, well, I'm wife material too? Is it somewhere that somebody dropped the ball, the reason why we don't really understand what a wife is supposed to be now?
No, I think we really understand what it want to be, but don't nobody want to pay the cost.
Nobody want to pay the exactly. Don't nobody want to.
And men have to take responsibility for that because women can't be wives unless you ask them.
Can't be hoes unless you ask us either. Don't get it twisted.
So we have to make a choice.
Hold on, Leonard. You ain't hear what Toya just said. You ain't hear what Toya just said
about the. If you getting up going to work and you're giving it to the first of all, right? And I'm just gonna be all the way honest because I was a hoe. Why? Because I couldn't trust men. Because y'all touch kids, right? I couldn't get that out of my head. So I'm not gonna be faithful to a man. Period. So I was that whore, right? But at the end of the day, I can't be that without you. And most cats want it. You don't want the good chick. You don't want the nice chick. You don't want the one that's gonna be working with you because human nature can't roll with that. At the end of the day, we can all sit here and make it either say what you want to say. God created this, he created structure. Man came first, man got his place, got his position. The woman second runner up. Everything you not, we are. But this world don't run by booty, it run by y'all. And until men understand that and take that power back and set the precedent, we're going to do what you do, because please understand me. I wasn't looking, even though I had been molested, I wasn't looking to be left living lonely. To me. But that's what all the men want. So I had to adapt. And since I learned at a very early age, being touched at 9 years old, that sex is what rule the world, what you think game I got in? What you think mindset I had to get in? Oh, I got it all on my own. No. They raised us to be like this because this is what y'all want. This is what the wife get left for. I'm gonna be the hoe because I don't want to be with you all day. My job better than hers. She gotta wipe your butt. She gotta stick around if you get sick. I'm gonna come on, do everything she don't, 15 minutes, and boom, I'm gone. What you talking about? Nobody got no time to be cooking and cleaning for you, cat. I got things to do. You guys can't be trusted anyway. I done been there, done that with that faithful foolishness, and ain't nobody trying to hear that. I done been there, done that with the faithfulness, and still was on top of my game when it came to the bedroom, and cats still ain't trying to hear that. So come on with the jokes and stop giving away the power. And I'm just talking to the men that God made first, who the head and who the leader. Ain't none of this got nothing to do with no woman, because God told y'all to stop it. You don't mean well for me if you come and trying to get in my pants, bro. But what you're not going to do is hold me accountable for being weak for you, because you're the man and I'm supposed to be weak for you.
Wow.
I'm supposed to run up under your reign.
And see, that's one of the things that I'm not on that page.
But people, they want to do what they want to do. Everybody don't believe in God and the structure. If you don't believe in the whole thing, you can't do but what you think you are. And if you think you ain't got no power, because we hold power over people right now talking on the radio. What you mean? All of us hold power because there are friends and people who call us to ask us for advice. What should I do? And they won't make a move without you. So no, we hold power in our relationships. We hold power as husbands, wives, daughters, nieces, aunts, and uncles, and we have to use it the way God told us. When I was a whore, it ain't had nothing to do with when that man touched me when I was 9. It's because I wanted to be a whore, even if it was because I used that to identify with the hurt and the pain and the truth and the reality of what some men are, even the ones y'all don't know.
Wow.
And the men
that sort of desensitize you. Then that sort of desensitize you toward intimacy.
Had their own responsibility because they knew I was underage and did it anyway. So come on, y'all.
Hold on. Okay, good deal. Rico, want to ask you a question toward you.
Did that situation sort of desensitize you toward intimacy, though? Not all. I mean, it could have turned you against it.
It didn't. I did. I had to adjust my mind how to deal with it. Nothing just desensitize you. You have a coping mechanism. I know how people go crazy because some of the things that happened to me, to make sense, there was nothing but anger and rage. I was just angry all the time. But I had to find out how to control it. And that was just my way of controlling.
I get that, Toya. I get that. But what I'm asking is had that situation not happened and you had not been violated at a young age like that by him or anybody else, it made you think a little differently about sex later on?
How would I know?
You said that you felt like we touched a little girl, so that was the reason why
Can't hear both of y'all at the same time. Can hear both of you.
If you haven't been touched, if you've never been molested, how do you know how you're going to act after you've been molested? You can say what you want to say. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But I don't know. But I do know that in my mind at 9 years old, it was a conscious decision that I made as a result of what happened. So when it came to the desensitization, it was because I cut it off. now when I got with the Lord, and even as I got older, I couldn't let what the man did affect what I would deal if I would talk to you, because I know I'm supposed to have a relationship with you. I know I'm supposed to have sex with you. So it didn't like make me
Toya.
not want to be with you. So it didn't desensitize me. It
So-
kind of just
So
made
Toya,
me
there
turn
was
that
a
light
point, a
on.
place. There was a point, place, in a time where you took your power back. Is what you're saying, right? Is that what I'm hearing you say? You didn't let you
I
didn't.
guess you can say I use it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I use it more like giving my power away was multiple partners. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I done tried prostitution, I done tried selling drugs, I done tried all of that, and that was giving my power away.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because that
Yeah.
wasn't who I
Yeah.
was.
Exactly. That's good. And Toya, I'm gonna tell you something, man. If don't nobody else say it to you, man, I love your transparency. I really do. I love that, man, because it takes a lot. It takes even a lot of strength to even come and to put that out there like that, because not a lot of people would do that. So I thank you for that, and I know that you're helping somebody. Minister Neil, what's on your heart, brother? Neil, you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I was just listening, and my heart goes out to my sister. There's nothing I can say, because like she just said, that she's been touched, and it's kind of difficult to me to understand the trauma that she was going through, even to the point that she was saying that she went to little levels of pain and tried to do it, doing other things. And I can honestly say that, this is the evidence of God right now, because not only she survived it, but she can tell you that it wasn't nobody. Wasn't no man. God. And I was just listening to her, and I was elated. I was like, these are the kind of things we need to hear. When you were saying about what's the driving force, and she kept saying it's God. That's the thing that you need to hear. You need to, and she was very specific about that. And these are the things that we try to analyze. Sometimes, that's why it was good to sit back and listen to her. Because I never knew that part about her. I mean, she's alluded to it, but this is the first time I've ever gone to death like this. And because a lot of times I'm not on here, and this is, thank God that I was able to hear like this as a testimony, and just say that's the evidence of the blood. And for people to think that God is not real, that's evidence. We're just talking. Evidence that God reigns supreme. Evidence. And you give your life to Christ, because He already owns your life. But He also said, "Though I stand at the door and knock, you gotta let me in." So you have to. She invited God in, and look what happened. Now He's dwelling with. That's a marvelous. That's a wonderful thing. That's a thing of rejoicing. The Bible also says that if one come to Christ, it said that the angels in heaven will rejoice. So again, I'm going to listen to this, my dear sisters, give this testimony, and continue to drill home. And look, it's not me, it's God. I tried this. It didn't work. But when I got with the King, things got turned around, and I'm over here smiling, not of her pain, but of the result of the blood.
Yeah. Amen. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
I was just had to be reminded when the Lord called Israel a backsliding heifer, playing the harlot. So we're no different. I mean, you can and I appreciate Toya too, but the whole nation is doing the same thing. That energy in a different way. We can't criticize it. That's why we can't criticize nobody. You may not You might not have been ex pos, but you were ex something.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to say that. We want to walk around here like we got all our dots I's dotted and our T's crossed. No, you don't. You
Mm-hmm.
lying. You a mess and you know it. Just nobody knows what goes on behind the closed doors, and it's really nobody's business. But when you come out the door, sometimes it's just let somebody is the best thing, probably the best thing is to let somebody know that, hey, I got issues too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't walk with wings on my shoulder. That's why we can't help nobody because we don't want to be honest. We want to walk around my family. I got perfect. We're married. I got perfect family. I got this. No, you don't, because you don't know what your children do when they leave your presence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
we don't want we don't want to be honest individually. It has to be individually. But like I said, what I'm saying is, if you find people that are at least trying to head in the right direction,
Come on.
go that way.
Mm-hmm.
Go that way. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're satisfied with the way things are, and you say that's just what I'm doing, and even God understands, well, you go ahead with your bad self.
Mm-hmm.
And I was finna say, let's see how that worked out. But it's not gonna work out good. I
Mm-hmm.
promise you. I'm
Exactly.
telling you. I used to tell my brother, I'm shut up. My brother I used to tell my brother, I told my brother, I said, bro, every time I turn around, something bad happened. He said, quit turning around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's what we're doing, going backwards.
Let me go to Leonard and Leonard. Our topic today is, what is your driving force? What is your driving force? Now, Leonard, if you come when you come in contact with people, 'cause I know how you care. Really have a heart for people, and you want to see people do good. You see a young person, and you know that they're going through a situation. They're going through a traumatic situation, and you know that there's something in them, and you know sometimes God reveals something to you. You can see it. There's something good in that person, man. That is being suffocated. It's being suffocated out because of the pain and aggravation that they're going through. Linda, how do you I'm not even gonna say how do you do how do you what is your motivational force in helping that person?
Is because I am older than them. I am a man, and in
Hmm.
dealing with, especially a lot of my cases were usually with young boys, of course, because there's a shortage
Hmm.
in black men in the system to help black boys, and so we really need to dedicate ourselves. If you have any interest whatsoever, reaching out to younger people and mentoring and things like that. Shout out to New Order for doing those types of things as well. But my main goal is to find out what is the desire of their heart.
Hmm.
Does your heart, like that passion we were talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want to be? I
Hmm.
mean, do the person even have a vision or a dream of being anything?
Mm.
You have to
Mm.
find out those things. And when talking with children, they're very standoffish at first, especially
Mm.
adolescents, teen
Mhm.
boys. They don't trust very well. They don't trust a lot, especially when they're already in the system, or
Mhm.
they, for whatever reason, they have been taken from their parents and in the system. And so you have to come at them from a point that their situation. That's
Mhm.
why you're there with them. So that's how I start talking to them about the desires of their heart and what
Mhm.
they see and how they see themselves first. Because that's one thing you have to rebuild in people is a value for self. So I have to do things to help them value themselves. And like I've talked to guys, why did you do that? Man,
Mhm.
I don't know. Then don't do it anymore. One of the reasons when you shouldn't do some things, especially if you don't know, don't do it. Like my mother used to say, it's so funny when I was listening to Tucson, and he's like, "Ma, it hurt when I do this." Well, don't do that. And that's
Mhm.
what I tell people. Does that hurt your life? Then don't do that.
Mhm.
Whatever it is that you can control, you need to try to do that,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what matters. You know, what can you control?
Mm-hmm.
If something is hurting or making you hurt, why are you still doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, every time I do this, I get my feelings hurt. Then you must stop doing that thing. People laugh
Exactly.
at me and they think I'm being sarcastic and cynical when I say, just say no was excellent advice.
Mm-hmm.
Why you all were so resistant to it, I'm not sure. But it's excellent advice.
Mm-hmm.
It's advice that comes from the Bible as well. Abstain from all appearances of evil. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of good scriptures in the Bible that teach you if it don't look right or don't look, you may not want to fool with it. And think about all the examples we have in front of us of people who have made those decisions and failed. So one thing that saved me a lot when I was younger was the fact that I had a lot of people around me failing and not living right. But my mother would never talk to them about being less. They'll just say they're making bad choices.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you make those bad choices, that's how you wind up. It wasn't a pimping was right down the street. Yeah, I'm in the street now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One side of my mom, my daddy was the preacher, you know, but I got a whole other side of my family don't care nothing about the Lord. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I uncles cuss you clean out, talking about, I tell you what, I see Jesus when I get there, but until then, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Very clear. We had evangelists, and you need to change, right? We're gonna do it when we get ready. So there's always going to be an opposition to doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what we have to do is to show people the best choice for
good.
you. Like Toya, I wanted to make the one thing clear about what Toya said. And when I mentioned, I think this might have heard my comment, I'm not on the same page. The world does not dictate to me who or how I should be. You must be taught by individuals who have moral values. You know, you weren't created to be disrespected and treated as such by men. I believe that women are viable entities in their own right. So a woman is not going to get the opportunity to put the blame on anyone else as well. See, the standard is that you be saved, not everybody else.
Okay.
You don't get to hang your hat on what other people do to you.
I'm going to do Rico like I did on TV yesterday. Stop talking. TV was on the roll yesterday once you Rico.
Yeah, she was getting it in, man. Like soon as she finished this, she was like, and 2 more words. just and 2 more words.
But Rico, how do you feed in children? And we're talking about the children that's in that same situation that I spoke to Leonard about. How do you feed the positive in them and starve the negative? Because a lot of time it could be the environment, their family that they're living with, and a lot of different negative things around that's pulling on them. So how do you feed the positive and starve the negative?
I'm one of those people. Sometimes you have to let them know that they have potential.
Mm-hmm.
Show them that the value that they have in themselves. Because somewhere those people might not feel like they can compete.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good as. Sometimes you have to show them, yeah, you are just as good as them. So Donald said a second ago, on the outside looking in, you might think one thing, but then when you get behind closed doors, man, you'll find out these people are a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
But those people that have low self-esteem and just has given up, they don't understand those that they look up to.
Mm-hmm.
Hot mess behind closed doors. They don't know that the Kirk Franklin that they listen to for motivation is cussing and clowning just as bad as they are.
Mm-hmm.
Their own children. That they have dysfunctional relationships. See, we have this Camelot imagination. The American dream is Camelot. It's an imagination. It's a fairy tale. We all want that white picket fence, and once you get it, man, the next step is heaven. No, it ain't. Somebody want to take that picket fence from you. Somebody didn't want you to have that picket fence. You know, so you what you have to do is you have to explain to those that lose hope, the ones that feel like they don't have a shot, that they do have a shot. I was always one that was big on talking to different women that, cause like I said the other day, 85% to 90% of the black women that I've met have been molested or raped. 5% of them lied about it. They want the attention. They want the sympathy that comes with a woman that has gone through that. But with that being said, you know, those are normal. I ain't gonna say normal experience. Those are experiences that somehow seem to be common, unaddressed. You know, so you know, it's I sort of lost my frame of my track of thought a little bit, man. But you know, I'm sitting. I'm gonna stay right around the lines of that right there. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Good deal. Good deal. Minister Neil, what's on your heart, brother? Toya with the T, coming to you next.
I'm just listening.
Okay. Toya with the T, talk to me, sis.
Yeah, no, everything is a conscious decision. You know, when I think back, and that was one of the things that God took me through. He made me face a lot of things all the way back to 9. Some things, no, that wasn't me. He gonna make you focus and face yourself. You know what I mean? And I had to make a decision because for a long time, right? Being young, doing those things, doing what you want to do, fornicating, doing all that. But see, I was going to be the best at it. If anybody, I'm not going to be the player. I'm going to be a coach. So my life was just a different kind of way. I just had a different kind of swag. And, you know, even though I've done some good things, and I've always been honest, you know, I'm a mess. You know, I'm crazy. I'm going to be me. But I've always loved the Lord. But I was honest with God about what I was going to do. No, Lord, I'm not going to be faithful. I can't do that. No, they can do, you can do anything else, Lord. I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll be good auntie, good kid, good daughter, by this, by that. But this is what I can't do. I can't be faithful to no man because what they did to me when I was younger. And I can't let nobody beat on me. Right? And everything else, I had it. So, again, this is this thing that we use. You don't let people see your pain and your hurt, you know, because it's sensitive. Somebody said earlier about the kids why they're standoffish. So there's this amazing superpower I have by being touched, other than not knowing what it's like to be untouched, right? Because I don't know what I would do. I probably would do something else. But I always felt it was a sacrifice. I felt it happened to me, so it wouldn't happening to other people in my family. You know what I mean? But I can also see, when I see kids, and they standoffish, I can see that. That. I can't see everything. Why they bad. But that one, I can see that one. I can feel that one and know it. You know? And it always comes out in tears. You know what I'm saying? And again, I just had to use that superpower, right? Because I didn't want to use it to be reckless. I still wanted to be a person that had good manners. I still wanted to be a person that knew and do and operated and did the things, you know, civilly. But I was just going to be honest about my sins, period. You know, but whatever we do, it's always a conscious decision to do the wrong or to do the right. Even when it comes down to joining the game. Been there, done that too. I'm not going to do that because, listen, you're not going to be beating me. Right? To get me to do anything. It's just those two things is a violation. So certain things I just can't do, you know, even though most of my other friends, when they would go and prostitute or be in gangs, and that would be one of the initiations, right? To get in, would be to have sex, would be like the bottom chick, which they call the chick that has sex with everybody because you're young and most people don't have the girl they want. Like, it's crazy. But at any rate, you would rationalize the same feeling that you had when it first happened to help you deal with it. And whatever clout you get after that, that's what you're chasing for. You know? So it go back to what Rico's saying about desensitizing it. It's not really about the desensitization. It's about the outcome or the reward or the being accepted from that, right? Because when it happens, you already feel like you're nothing, but it feels like the sex part is what you're worth. So now you're going to take that and try to be the best, you know what I'm saying? And get the goodness from that part. And that's what you kind of take and run with it. You know what I mean? Wow. And it just helps you go deeper down the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? So It's just really hard to call, man. But definitely, if you pay attention to your surroundings, you pay attention to your kids, you pay attention to how they may change inwardly. But for me, I did not. I didn't want nobody to know, but you can definitely tell. So just be aware, man. Just, to anybody out there that might be hearing that conversation, I'm being honest. After having the conversation with my God, that was not an excuse.
Yeah.
It was not an excuse for me to be unfaithful, not an excuse for me to be nasty, not an excuse for me to be disrespectful, angry, have that little black woman attitude they say we have. It was not an excuse. I had to give all that to the Lord, had him start over again. And we probably on year 4, right? I'm like a 4-year-old in Lord right now. And I'm still focusing on how just to be what God wants me to be.
God.
And I can't let no man interfere with that. So that's another reason why I don't have sex with men. Because I don't want to be getting caught up under their reign like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's real heavy potential right there when you're dealing with a woman. And most men don't recognize it. So for me, I can't give my body to y'all, man, because the next one, he got to be the right one. Because I just can't. I've been doing it to myself. So now I'm going to stop. Now it's me and the Lord. Now the Lord's showing me everything I need. I ain't got no man. The Lord been blessing me. Can't no man top that. So the next man that I get with, that I say that I'm going to give my precious body to, right now, the Lord got to beat hands down. He going to have to come beat that in order for me to go ahead, and God's so good, I don't even notice it. I be looking like, I shouldn't even be, I'm young. I shouldn't be coping like this, but that coping mechanism kicking in again, man. But no, keep your head up and do the right thing. Nothing is ever an excuse, not even molestation.
Absolutely. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? We're ready to get out of here. We at 10 o'clock. What's on your heart? Toussaint, you there?
No, not too much, man. Not too much. Just every turtle got to sit on its own bottom. It's just if you do that, whatever bottom you want to sit on, as you make your decisions, every decision you make has a result. By past experiences, you have to look at that, and if that's not working, you might have to consider trying something else.
Good deal. Anybody have anything before we get out of here? It's 10 o'clock. Anybody got anything before we?
If you did not get a chance to hear the show in its entirety, log on to www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3 o'clock Eastern today.
Yes, sir, Rico.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back, man. I left my thought incomplete a second ago, and I said that about 85% of the women that I met had been molested or raped. In the process of meeting some of them, you hear what they went through. You hear the reasons why they do some of the things they do. Some of them went on past that. They moved on past it. They coped with it properly, and then use something else negative to cope with it and send themselves in the back with a tailspin. But some did, and you listen to the reason, and then you understand that they lost hope. So you ask the question: how do you motivate people like that? When I met women like that, I would always bring Oprah to the forefront because of what she went through. And I would use her as a prime example because that's what mainstream media put up there as, look at this black woman. She's uber successful. She's on the Forbes list for billionaire. Oprah runs the world. So I said, well, you know what? If that's what they're going to put out there, I would use her for an example to these other women that feel like they don't have any hope because they went through the same thing she went through, but they don't understand what she went through to get out of that and become who she became. Saying that, all of us might run into people that has potential or living in despair that had, that needs uplifting or motivation. But we got to understand that we might not be the person that we could have them look to for an example. This is the way I will motivate. If I notice it, I will make the effort to address that person, but I will try to use another person as an example that would be better for them to look to and say, well, you know what, I can do it. Because if they're looking at me for an example, and some people will look at the person that's talking to them. Oh, you reached out to me? Well, what are you doing? You know what? I might not be doing it, but I know somebody else that is. They went through that same thing you did, and guess what they became? They became the first black female billionaire in America, or whatever title you want to give them. So that's the way I try to motivate those people. You know what I'm saying? I think of others that went through the same situation, and they succeeded and came out of it, and I use that as an example, use them as an example. So they won't look at me and say, what have you done?
Yeah, exactly. Good deal. Good deal. Man, listen, it's been a great broadcast. Toya with a T, I'm going to come to you. I want you to pray us out today, sister.
Oh, well, that's definitely the result of God. Are you going to tell them where to watch that, though? Tell them where to find it at later at 3 o'clock.
Leonard did it. He did a minute ago.
Oh, okay. All right, y'all. Well, thank you, Lord, for another glorious day, Lord. You know what? You are such a good Father, and you're so kind, you're so patient, and you give us exactly what we need when we need it, Lord. But you know, we really try to do the show in your name, and we hope that someone somewhere has heard this, and it helps them, and it just helps open up a door to you, Lord. You know, continue to bless us, continue to guide us, continue to touch our minds and our hearts, for we know not what we do. But most of all, we want to thank you for your blessings, your grace, your honor, and your mercy, Lord. We love you today. We love you now, and we love you forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Amen. Go ahead, preacher. Go ahead, preacher. I heard you over there, preacher. She ain't gonna say nothing, okay?
Whatever. Whatever.
Okay. I knew you weren't gonna let that one just fly by. But listen, it's 10:04, man. I want to thank you.
No.
I want to thank everybody for joining us, and more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow to be a part of your morning. It's 10:04. We're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity to give somebody some love, you just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Love you, and y'all have a great day.